Falcon? I'm joined by a different man who may or may not give us a caca. Introduce yourself, my friend. Tell us why you are here.
I'm for those of you that are out there, you can't see me, but it's Seth the Mad Dog. I filled in for Falcon because we have some orc content. So the Falcon said, why don't you take this set? So I hopped in for him. So we are getting set to watch round 2, and we have Ben Jurek running a list very close to my heart, the custom stompa list. And Ben is playing into Aiden Poole, and Aiden Poole is running Necrons, and it looks like Aiden's going first.
Yeah, it looks like Necrons have gone first, which damn lucky first. It is going to be a spicy matchup. For those that are following along at home, this mission is priority targets, that being Vanguard deployment. 5 objectives, start of the game starts, each of them 2 objectives. One. You able to tell us who you think moved the first one, where you think they picked it up?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like the top-down view is kind of deceiving, but it looks like there's, in the viewer's screen, the upper right, there is a hill, but I don't believe that has the obscuring keyword. Oh, no, Ben's moving. Ben's going first. That was a pre-game move for
That was a pre-game move.
It's hard to believe.
Eternal Conquerors and stuff. This is so this is Seth. Seth is
their evil sons, they have +1 their advance, +1
so well, you are an orc faction specialist. And you were coined as Seth the Mad Dog.
Not get them there.
Well, I'm angry and I'm also a doctor, so it works.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Must have been a
the table for me is 2-5. Adam is super quiet. First time anybody's ever said that. Also. Production team, Mr. Richard, to adjust those sounds, please. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the game's camera mic is on. We're just going to go silent for a moment. At least you guys, rather than us drowning out the table mic, at least you can hear the tables clearly and succinctly, rather than us.
I think someone got it. Yep.
They're muted?
Yep.
Fan-freaking-tastic. We'll go back to the start. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Game 2 of the Lone Star Open. This is the reintroduction of the introduction. I'm joined by Seth, the Mad Doc from Orc fame, to go and discuss and show us all the good stuffs about this Orc Stomper list. My man, tell us some ins and outs.
All right, so Ben is a pretty well-versed player with this particular list. He's running the custom Stompa. You have to run it in Evil Sons, and he's got it jacked up with all the guns. He's got the belly cannon. He's got a Stompa lift-to-droppa. Then he's got the triple gun arm. He's got a big mech with a custom force field. That guy is just there to literally stand next to Stompa, and it literally has to touch it basically to get the invuln save for it. He's got a foot war boss. He's made that his warlord. He's made it super fighty with the killer claw and might is right and the biggest boss. And then he's got a weird boy to cast the ubiquitous Evil Sun's power of Vision in the Smoke for the reroll. And he does have to jump on that as well because he is running 2 blocks of 29 boys, a block of 10 boys, 11 Gretchen, 2 units of 5 commandos, a pain boy because inevitably that weird boy will blow its own brains up and need to be healed. 2 Death Copters and a truck. So just a handful of small units to kind of run around and play the mission while the Stompa tries to sweep everything off the board.
It's that flow-on effect from just by taking the Stomper is really felt here. It's like you don't just get to take an 850-point Stomper because you're taking an 850-point Stomper, and things like multi-melters exist, Ballistari exists. So you got to double down and take the 65-point KFF Big Mech, and then because you take his Evil Sons, you got to take the Weird Boy to make sure it gets the Evil Sons power, and then because you're taking a Weird Boy, you're gonna have to take a Pain Boy to buff the Weird to keep the Weird Boy alive. It's just this funny snowball effect that you.
And then to get the +3 to cast, you need to take at least 30 boys.
Exactly.
So you just end up with this. It's just a death ball that walks around.
Exactly right. Thanks to everybody joining us in the chat. Thanks for all your support. Yes, we are starting a little bit late. Unfortunately, there are so many moving parts that are involved in getting a stream like this up and going, especially for many of the people running this on the ground. It may be their first time doing it in the field, and certainly the first time in the post-COVID landscape, so it is quite a while between drinks. I will tell you guys a little bit about this Necron player. This is, sorry, what was his freaking name? I'm bad. Bad man, Mr. Aiden Poole. Apologies, Mr. Poole. He is playing a Necrons. He starts off, and first and foremost, this gentleman is playing Sortek first up because that is because he has the Silent King. Then the rest of his army is, of course, Circumstances of Awakening and Relentlessly Expansionist. He has a Patrol Detachment. This one has just a Lord. Veil of Darkness, Resorb, is what it is. 2 units of Immortals, 1 10-man with Gorse, 1 5-man with Gorse, a Catan Shard of the Void Dragon, which I find very interesting, possibly a meta choice against things like Raiders. Then he's got 10 Sword and Board Lich Guard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's a full 10-man unit of Tomb Blades with Shadow Looms and Twin Gorp Blasters as well. And then 10 Praetorians. So 3 big blocks there, in addition to 2 super expensive monsters, being the Void Dragon and the Silent King. And I shudder to think, Seth, but your freaking eyes popped up when you saw this list, and you're like, this is exactly what the Stompa wants. Please tell us why.
So the Stompa has a total of 10 guns. Now, a few of them are kind of inconsequential, like little flamers, little big shooters, but essentially it has 3d6 shots that are 36-inch range, strength 2, or strength 8, neg 2, 2 damage. That goes well into any one of those foot units. They've got a bigger, the Def Cannon is strength 10, neg 4, d6 damage. That also goes good into them. That goes good into the Tomb Blades. That goes good into the Silent King. And then it has the custom lift droppa, the Stompa version, which is a 43 shot gun. You roll 3 dice, add up, and if those dice are more than the target's toughness, the target takes a wound at neg 4, D3 plus D3 damage.
It's freaking savage.
So it's got a lot of these really high volume, high damage shots. And the best way to try to tackle the Stompa is just to have so many targets, because that's basically going to be all of Ben's shooting. Ben's shooting is one model. That's it. So if you have more targets than it can shoot, you can try to outlast it. But unfortunately, Aiden's really kind of blocked up in his list. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that could be targeted pretty easily. And that's, the Stompa can reliably pick up 2 or 3 of those a turn.
Exactly right. He's going to get maximum efficiency for the return of his points investment in that Stompa. Like that thing puts out the firepower of like 3, possibly even 4 freaking tank commanders for what it really can put to pay, especially when you add up all the stuff. But it does have the propensity to flop, and that's why when you spread out his efficiencies and you have to shoot one of those super high value guns into 5 incubi, you're like, oh well, if they
I think we may
die, I don't care, maybe flop over. And man, that feels really bad. It feels really bad when it happens.
Yeah.
Have we got our screen frozen? Is our screen frozen on the live game?
I don't know. It looks like there's
no. It's good now.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good.
Just a bit of chop. But yeah, this is a really bad game to play against the Stompa as a Necron player, and a really bad game to go second on.
Yeah,
but tell us about what's happened here with the terrain, mate, because this is something that you.
So we were talking about that pregame because we saw the list and we were like, "Oh, this could be real rough for Aiden," and I was like, "It's going to have to come down to how well he does with terrain placement." And LSO, this is the first time that FLG is really rolling out their player plays terrain program. So it looks like there was definitely some fire alleys that got left open when Aiden was placing things on his half of the board. And Ben got really aggressive, and he kept most of the line of sight blocking back that he deployed, it looks like. And so he was able to shove that Stompa forward. And the big trick with the Stompa is if it can see the majority of the objectives and survive, it's going to win you the game. And in the position he's got it right now, he can see the 3 midfield ones. He can see a bit of maybe he might be able to see around the corner from the end of that lift to droppa to the objective deep in Aiden's deployment zone. And then, of course, he's got his home covered. So he's got it in a pretty good position already at the top of 1.
There's a couple of really pivotal things that I feel like Aiden could have done, even though... So, in my opinion, what I'm seeing right now on this table and the way I'm calling it, Mr. Jarek has gotten the first choice of terrain placement. He's picked up that L, which obviously is the best piece of terrain on the board, and he's put it succinctly down in his deployment zone. And then his opponent has had the choice, and I think what they've done is picked up a forest and put that in the deployment zone. Yeah, and I think they needed to double down on that and have a wall of forest between them and their opponent. Because what happens if that Stompa gets -1 hit on all the shots? You have to pump the DACA.
Yeah, well, and if Ben's probably going to more DACA every turn he fires this thing until it's down to cleaning up a dregs of it. So I really wouldn't depend on -1. I think honestly, going up against a list like this, and you're worried about terrain, and you hide 1 or 2 key things, I think you put some stuff in reserve. And I'm trying to see on the table if it looks like I would not put it all on one, because you're not going to. There's not many scenarios where you can one-punch the Stompa for that. It's T8 before you do this. 8 doesn't have that kind of range, so you got to try to play KG and hide some things.
Rerolls. 2 hits. And it's strength 12 versus T8. 1 Onward.
You see as well, did you see the little plastic tiles he had? I feel like that was him divvying out the guns for his stomper.
Yeah,
and he was just placing them in front of units. It's a clever system. There's so many guns on that thing. You really need to keep track of what it's got.
Yeah,
and a good system for those following along at home.
Yeah, he uses poker chips. I actually made like fake magic cards for mine.
Perfect.
So that I could literally just hand my opponents like, this is the stat of the gun that I'm putting as well. So if they're trying to do a defensive profile, they can be like, all right, well, that's the one that I'm going to use transhuman on or something like that.
Exactly right. So this is just a cam that we've got set up to show us a bit more of the dice rolls, but we'll pivot back to the top down if you guys find that better. How much do you think is going to get deleted this turn? I know what's getting invested upon right now looks like it's either the Lich Guard or the Praetorians. I'm of the opinion the Praetorians are the unit in the bottom right-hand corner that I can see, and Lich Guard are sticking close to SK right now. Does this guy kill Silent King in one turn? And how many guns does he need to guarantee it? Or does he want to do it this turn?
I don't know. Yeah, so you need to start chipping away at the Nightbringer, and that's just, you can throw any one of your guns into that, try to do that problem. But yeah, in terms of things, I think honestly he just doesn't want to get touched, because then it's forcing him to move backwards. Yes, he's Titanic, it can fall back and still shoot, but it's sort of tipping your hand and forcing the Stompa to move out of that key position where it can see. So I'd go after the fast moving units. If I can get a beat on the Tomb Blades, that's where I'd want to go.
Yeah. I'd be going Tomb Blades or Praetorians if I had any choice in the matter.
Yeah, the Praetorians also
and then as soon as those ones get like compromised, as in their strength, then all of a sudden the boys become more relevant as well, because then they're a legitimate answer to a lot of those units. They can connect and drown them down, and of course that's the firepower that's going to be killing your objective holders, because what you want that Stomper to do, like you said, is to sit back with lines of fire onto 2 or 3 of the objectives that are going to be heavily contested and just smash anything that goes anywhere near him. And so what he wants to do is he wants to get stuff like his Lich Guard up and onto those ones, because they're the things that most likely going to survive the Stomper or cause him the biggest issues on target priority. But the thing is, they're stuck in a forest. They're not quick units as they are. You're pretty much relying on having or guaranteeing you have to freaking use your Veil on them to make them relevant. Yeah,
and that's using that early in the game, it just takes that threat away for all the rest of the game. So getting that out of your system. And just look at all the hits Ben has there. Jesus, I don't even know what gun he's shooting, but just the fact is with the Stompa, because you have to roll and then re-roll and then generate additional shots and roll and re-roll, you literally roll 4 times each time you fire a weapon. So it's just a silly number of shots. And it looks like we're taking some saves here. I don't know what they're on.
If I'm going to be a betting man, I'm guessing the unit in the bottom right is in fact the Lich Guard, and the unit that he has sitting below SK is going to be the Praetorians. They have fly; they don't care about the forest. As the same story would be for the Tomb Blades, which are directly above the Silent King as well. Interesting enough to see next to the Silent King, we have the Void Dragon. They've both been deployed very centrally, essentially on the line, knowing they have no real opportunities to hide from this big bad boy, and they need to get stuck in pretty quick. Does the Void Dragon worry this chunky lad at all?
Oh yeah, I mean certainly it can get in and do some damage, and you got to start chipping on it, because there's not the only other real damage that he can produce is maybe charging a unit of boys in, or maybe trying to get a lucky smite off on it, and that might be the only other way he gets that thing down, because just shooting it alone, it's not going to be enough. If Aiden tries to make a charge in line of sight, that'll be rough. And I don't know.
So a full unit of Praetorians going in, buffed with everything they can get. I think it's 3 attacks each, be hitting on 2s, and then wounding on 5s, re-rolling, I believe. Because is it re-rolls to hit? It's re-rolls to hit at range, re-rolls to wound in combat. So 30 attacks. I think there's for some reason I think they can get to 40 attacks. So let's go
25 hits. You're going to look at with re-rolls about 40%. So you're going to be just short of that. So you're going to get like about 12 wounds.
And then they're going to be -2 damage, I believe.
And there's no invuln save in combat. So, -2. So 2/3 of those go through. So he gets, 8 wounds through. So that's 16 wounds.
Damage. Yeah. You don't even have, it's 40 wounds, isn't it? You don't even have.
Yeah, and his ballistic skill never degrades. And even if it did, you just more DACA. So the thing that you care about it in terms of the degradation is its movement. Because if you degrade its movement enough, and then you put it in like difficult terrain where it's standing right now, you can get it so where it can't actually leave combat.
That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. Let's go over these secondaries for us. So Mr. Benjeric, who has gone first with the Orcs, in my mind, sitting in pole position. This game is on his terms for the time being. Looks like everything's been on his terms so far. He's gotten a good faction matchup. He's got a good pairing in the fact that what his archetype is versus his opponents. He's got the best of the terrain selection, and he's got to freaking go first. I cannot state how much this is Ben's to win. Doesn't mean Aiden doesn't have an opportunity. He has got a great list for what it is for this event. If he uses this terrain appropriately, he can get stuck in very quickly. Hell, if the Stomper just doesn't wipe units between the Res Orb and actual Resurrections, he gets most of them back. It can make this, at least nullify or maybe cut the efficiency of this Stomper down through dint of what his special rules are. But we'll quickly run down Aiden's secondaries, then I'll get you to tell us about Ben's. Aiden has taken Purge the Vermin, raise the banners high, and priority targets. Of course, you always want to take priority targets. This is the mission where you get pretty much an auto 15 on that. And it looks like he has both units of his Immortals currently sitting on his home objective in the top right-hand corner. What do you make of the other ones, though? The Purge the Vermin and the Raise the Banners?
Raise the Banners. I just feel like he doesn't have enough infantry to really make that work. Because he's going to have to end up sacrificing at some point. If you had a bunch of small man units of Immortals, that's fine. But, you don't really want to take your Praetorians or your Lich Guard out for a turn to raise a banner. Because in this position, you're just going to be standing on an objective in front of the Stompa. It's not going to be good for you. So I don't particularly like that one. Purge the Vermin, when you're deciding secondaries, it's all simultaneous. So, if Aiden's never come across a Stompa list, he might not know what secondaries it likes to take.
Yeah.
So I can see the assumption of, okay, this army is going to just sit back and castle up and shoot at me. But that's why Ben has those Death Copters and those Commandos, so he can go out and hit those other table quarters. So, engage is really common. Retrieve Octarius, that's an option. You could also do grind it down, because you're not really going to present much as the Orc list for your opponent will.
Yeah. So as a sitting right now, just to encapsulate what this Stomper has done so far, we're seeing 3 of the Tomb Blames removed. We've seen what looks to be at least 3, possibly 4 of what I think is the Praetorians below SK being removed. We've seen a dice being added to the Void Dragon, so it could be 3 wounds lost there. That's the most he's allowed to lose per turn. And I'm not seeing either of the Minhirs. They could have both have been dropped as well.
I would imagine that's the first thing that goes.
Absolutely right. I'm saying you get them in his down. SK can live a little bit. The shooting that his opponent has is not going to be too prevalent. He's not going to make it to combat this turn either. But you do want to start working on that Void Dragon early. And the same, SK just got picked up.
Yeah, I was like, Ben's still rolling dice. Ben's still rolling dice. Hold on.
He's not done. The Tomb Blades has 4 left. Okay, we're going to go to another game. And because we may have just shown you the only pivotal parts of this one, unfortunately. But the good thing about this event and the setup that these gentlemen have provided for us and the Frontline Gaming has put on, he can just pick up this rig, this table, and we can just switch to another game.
Ben is still rolling after picking up all of that.
He's still freaking going. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Maybe Silent King exploded, and that's what that was. Because in the same motion, he picked up models next to Silent King, and he picked up the Silent King. So that leads me to believe he rolled a 6 and just bad luck went to worst. We can hear you, Richard. Please transition us to the next table, mate.
No! He exploded.
Seth,
oh,
how big did he explode?
10-inch explosion. Oh.
So just to put the nail in the coffin, turn 1, Silent King down with an explosion, taking huge chunks out of everything around him, and this is possibly why. Oh, absolutely. I don't know how this comes back from it. Hey, but what a good chance to transition to another table. Let's see what's going on.
Hot marine on marine action.
That's right. This is White Scars versus Dark Angels. The gentleman in question, I don't know if you have their names ready for us.
1 second. We have Oliver Smith running White Scars and Michael Ramos running Dark Angels.
Fan-freaking-tastic. We haven't had a couple of calls in the chat to possibly get the Junior Fleahy game on, that being the Blood Angels versus Adman game. We may get it rolled over to there, should that be nothing more to see there on the Stomper game. But good news there is, though, a Stomper is probably making it out of turn 2 with 2 W's, man. Outrageous.
Yep. It's looking good for the old Stomper.
It is looking good for the old Stomper. This may be and you've been looking quite deeply into the new decks yet. You don't think the Stomper is going to be transitioning or being as punitive a thing into the next iteration?
I don't know. the Forge World Index version, it's the custom one. I don't think its points are changing. I don't see Forge World updating things anytime soon. The one in the Orc Codex is fairly cheap at like 675, but there's not a lot of buffs for it in terms of like rerolls or extra movement. So it's in the ad mech meta. Walking forward with an unprotected vehicle is just not a good recipe. So I haven't really messed around with it yet. Someone crazier than I am sure can figure out a list. But why don't we talk about the Marine lists in front of us? There's a Dark Angel list, and I think you're a Dark Angels fan. Is that right,
I am
Adam?
a Dark Angels fan. In the bottom left-hand corner, we see the deployment for Mr. Michael, the Dark Angels player. We has a bunch of Terminators sitting on 2 different objectives. He's spread his sphere of influence. Behind the top left unit of them, you see a Redemptor Dreadnought, and then in the back, what looks to be a command squad, possibly covering for some characters. I'm going to quickly give you the rundown of this gentleman's list. Starts off with a Vanguard detachment. As you'd expect, this is a Deathwing Vanguard detachment. Starts off with in the no Force Orc slot. He's got a Deathwing Ancient, a Deathwing Apothecary, and a Ravenwing Apothecary. So doubling down on the Apoth. I'm personally a big fan of the double Apothecary. I think you can make some lists that get phenomenally good value out of that. He has a Librarian in Terminator armor. He has Samael with Master of Maneuver, and he's the Warlord. Has a Deathwing Command Squad, or just a 2-man, and then 5 Deathwing Knights, 2 big blocks of Deathwing Terminators, one of them being 2 Thunderhammer Storm Shields, 2 Chain Fists, that's the 5-man apologies, with a single Cyclone Missile Launcher. Then he has his 10-man, 3 Thunderhammer Storm Shields, in addition to a Watcher in the Dark, and the Sergeant also has a Thunderhammer Storm Shield, 3 double pairs of Lightning Claw guys, and 2 Cyclone Missile Launchers, and 1 Mook with a Stormbolter Power Fist. Then he has a unit of Black Knights. This one, a 5-man, 4 of which have a Corvus Hammer, and the Huntsmaster only having a Power Sword. That might be because he plans to upgrade it. Then a single Redemptor Dreadnought. Look, this isn't the kind of list I would be playing into this meta. I would be playing something far more MSU, far more Ravenwing focused for my mind. I don't mind one block of Terminators, but this is to my mind, a bit of an overinvestment in something. But this is the thing that this list can do. This list can just get points. Who knows? Maybe you lose by 10 points because somebody gets 90, but you got a freaking 80. So you're not going to cry many tears over that. What do you make of this?
I mean, it's Dark Angels. It looks like this list is just meant to survive. The Black Knights were kind of the interesting choice to me. I haven't seen those on the table that often, so that they kind of threw me for a loop. But it looks like the Deathwing Terminators are just going to exist, and whatever combat is going on, it seems that they are doing their job and punching the crap out of some White Scars. So they are continuing to exist.
Awesome. Well, I'll give us a quick rundown of the White Scars as well. This one starts off with a Vanguard attachment. Also, this one, of course, of White Scars. It's not successes, true White Scars. In the no Force Orc slot, he has 2 company veterans and servitors. Then he has Kasaro freaking Khan. And in addition, he has a Primaris Tech Marine. Has the Hunter's Eye is his Warlord, and has Rights of War as his Warlord trait. 3. I count that again. 3 Contemptor Dreads with Twin Volkites. No chill. Then he has a unit of 10 Vanguard Veterans, Lightning Claws, Storm Shields all the way down. A small unit, a 5-man, same loadout, and another freaking 10-man with the same loadout. That is a sum total of 25 Lightning Claw, Storm Shield Terminators for your for his eating pleasure. Yeah. And then yes, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. 2 units of Devastators, both with multi-melters, 2 Land Speeder Storms, and a single Rhino. I'm going to go out on a limb. Yeah. I like this list a lot.
I was looking at this list as you were talking through it, and I'm trying to think about the meta right now, and I'm wondering if he's teching into AdMech extremely hard, because you look at it, he can split up both these Vanguard units to have 5 small Vanguard units, so he can trade well with those Qatari blocks.
Yep.
And then he's got, I was like, why multi-melt? And I was like, well, he brings down that's a total of 12 or 8 multi-melt. 8 multi-melter shots per squad into a unit of chicken walkers. That's also pretty strong. So I think this list could go far in this event.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think this list is pretty well poised, and I think I've seen this gentleman take this same list, or a gentleman taking a variant of this list, into the Drukhari meta. I think that's what it was designed for, but I think you're absolutely right. I think it pivots really well into AdMech as well, and it's really well placed to go deep here. And I think if I was going to call which way this matchup is leaning, I'd say it's leaning more in his favor, simply by dint of this mission favoring his speed far more than the plotting ability of his opponent. Now, what's going to really hold the Dark Angels back is they've essentially only got 3 spheres of influence that are even possible for them at any one time. Yeah. That being their essentially 3 units of Terminators. Now, at any point, if you put one of those Terminators out, they can't all have the buffs at the same time. They can't all be debuffed or buffed or whatnot. And so at some point, one of them's not going to have the -1 damage, or not going to have feel no pains. Or hell, this guy can at will can suicide a 5-man Vanguard vet to just go and kill your characters. Advance and charge, get in behind there, take out your feel no pain. Next turn, go in, start ripping the Terminators to bits. It's going to be. I think I put this in his favor. In addition to that, he's got the right profiles to give Terminators some menace. He has quite a density of mortal wounds from those 3 contemptors that he can really put some pain on.
Yep. Yeah. I think there's a lot here for the White Scars player. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Believe that's Oliver. Yep, Oliver's playing White Scars. Let's look at those secondaries. There we go. So that was the other question I had, because I think the only shot that Michael has is if he picks some really good secondaries and just tries to play the mission and just let the White Scars do what they're going to do.
Yes. Just having a quick look over the secondaries. Of course, the Dark Angel secondaries to the last, so his 3 Insta Terminators are all worth 5 points each. Stubborn Defiance. So this is almost, unless the White Scars really go for it, it's just a 30 points in the bag. Then last, these priority targets, which is another clean sweeping, easy 15 points. It's looking really good for him to get a massive score here.
He can just exist on 2 objectives for the entire game and get that's 40 primary and then 40. He can get like a 95 just by existing.
Easy. Yeah.
So it's really on Oliver to go over there and stop Michael.
He literally has to. The real things he can do is get the 15s and then level out that way. So his secondaries are raise the banners, engage no fronts, and priority targets. So priority targets will glean him a 15. There's no real freaking way this Deathwing army is going to close the distance. Apart from a unit of Deathwing Knights coming in from reserve and charging onto your home objective, he's not taking it away. So that's pretty much 15 in the bank. Engage no fronts. You're going to have to, if you want to win this game, you're going to have to take him off those objectives. Otherwise, he's just going to outscore you. And raise the banners is an interesting choice here. I think one of the things, a really good trick here would to be get a banner on that central objective, like turn 1. Just put one up turn 1 and make him try and take it down. Make him have to bleed out a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if he has to try to do something to make Michael change up his game plan, because based on those secondaries, Michael's game plan is to sit on those 2 back objectives that you see on the left-hand side of the screen, and that's a pretty easy 95 right there. Doing something to get him to try to commit to that midfield, and then you can trade and reduce his sphere of influence, and then he's only got 2, and then maybe you've got a chance to make some more plays there.
Yeah, exactly right. Anybody in the chat got any preferences of where we set up our next table? We're going to be going back and rejoining the Stomper in a couple of minutes. It's probably going to be closing thoughts on that game, unfortunately, with that Stomper just popping off like a behemoth. And then, in addition, the double down on the bad luck with that Silent King popping off for a 10 freaking inch D6 mortal wound or explosion. That is terrifyingly bad. But just a quick annunciation of this one. Anybody, you able to tell me what's at the top? What's at the top middle of the table for your mind? Is that a Landspeeder Storm up there, mate?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's interesting to me that Oath of Moment wasn't taken for the White Scars. I thought that'd be a really good impetus for them to get into the middle of the board, chuck a banner up on it. But maybe I've got my wires a little crossed. Looks like he's got his Rhino full of them, with possibly 2 units of multi-melters sitting just to the middle of center, and that could be a real bad time come next turn or the turn after, that thing getting straight into his lines. And those 2 units, appropriately buffed, especially if he's able to get Kasara Khan up there with him, can nuke a 5-man, no problems, can take out 5 of those Deathwing Terminators. Looks like he's going for it this turn as well. He's got at least 2 5-mans of Vanguard vets going up into aggressive positions. Now, what's really cool about this, with no real ability or like a chaplain there to enable the Deathwing to sling back into you, as in the counter assault, and close the distance, he can just stage up about 13, 14 inches away from his opponent, get all his strength in one point, and then just overwhelm. And it's going to be a really big issue with the Deathwing being so immobile, and when they're separated, they can't support each other. It's one of the things I always try to do with priority targets when you're moving those objectives. Get 2 of them as close together as possible, so that your units can actually support, because otherwise you get kind of stranded and isolated. And one of the great things that these Vanguard vets can do is just overwhelm you. Sorry, brother, I talked really hard there. You go.
No, you're fine, man. But I'm really liking kind of the positioning that Oliver's got going on here. He's got those that Rhino position to give him a nice fire base. He's got a bunch of those Vanguard units moving up, but behind all that, he still has the 3 Contemptors. So if, and the way I see it, if Michael comes out and tries to clear out this mid board and clear off those Vanguard, he's then just standing in front of that gun line.
Yeah, exactly right. There are quite a few cyclone missile launches in this list, so it's quite a lot of long range anti. The fact that I see all 3 of the Contemptors still alive is a little bit concerning. Maybe they either didn't get range or they were deployed more conservatively. They've only moved to their positions now. But you see what he's doing? He's staging up. He's staging up all his Vanguard vets. We see 3 units of 5 staging up on the other side of that ruin. Looks like they might be charging into that ruin. Looks like there is some Terminators in there. Yeah, I can see at least 3 with probably more on the overhang.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna quickly go back to the Stomper game and probably pretty much just let Seth have a nice hearty wrap up of the Orc matchup, and then we're probably gonna move that rig onto another game. We have had numerous requests for the Junior Flgn game, that being the Blood Angels. I can't remember who his opponent's playing, but I know he's playing Admech, and a lot of people want to see how that holds up. So we'll put that request once we switch out here. We'll put that request through the production team to move the rig over to there. But Seth, what are you seeing? What's happened? Give us the lowdown.
So the Stompa is a little over 10 inches wide. So Ben's pulling a very clever trick right now, which is his guns are literally on opposite sides of the building. So he can completely see around that building. So literally everything is exposed now. Every model you see on the table that is Necrons is visible by that Stompa. And this looks like we're probably in Ben's second turn. And he's moving up his horde to keep supporting all those characters. So
we are hearing background void.
Yep. Yeah, we are.
Yep. Yeah, and look, the Necron player, by dint of having so few models left, has been entirely contained into the bottom right-hand quadrant of the table.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's got those Immortals still alive, but they're not going to, he can, I think it's the Super Gatler. He can just dump the Super Gatler into those and pick them up.
Exactly right. I've been told I'm speaking too fast. I will ease my cadence for your. It will save my voice as well. But man, I'm just so exuberant. I'm so happy to be casting games. Seth, what's the target priority now with this state of the game for the Stomper?
You got to keep chipping away at the Void Dragon, because that can still come in and if not one shot, significantly degrade that Stompa. But now it's time to start taking, take care of the rest of those Tomb Blades, take care of the rest of those Praetorians. It looks like Ben's bringing in reserves. He's bringing those commandos in the back, so he's probably going to get his engage going in the backfield this turn. Oh no, he's got Rod. That's right, he's got Rod. So he's going to try to get his Retrieve Octarius, and that's
he's got both. He's got engage as well, man.
So that's that little 45, 55 point unit is just going to net him all kinds of points this game.
Yeah.
I saw in the chat some questions on how is the Stompa list going to change. This is probably the last hurrah for the Stompa list. That's we're going to lose the reroll power, and we're going to lose the auto hitting on 5. So this is the last rodeo, so to speak, for the Stompa. So I'm rooting for Ben to have a good run with it.
Man, if player place terrain is pretty good for the Stomper, guaranteeing you get to at least have a say in your lines of fire, really activates units like this. And I'm just happy to see a Stomper on the table. Like, there's only one at this event. It's not like this is a a skew list that's people is drowning the meta or being punitive at all. This is just one bloke taking a unit that he loves, skewed his entire list to make it work, went first in a good matchup, absolutely slapped.
Yep. Yeah, it can be real strong. I think it's I played it in a team event and it was a lot of fun there. So it definitely can do the work. But this is a conversation the Orc guys I have had kind of behind the scenes is we don't like the list because it's just not fun for your opponent to play against, because it just can be oppressive, and that looks like what's going on here.
Well, at the same time, if I was playing against you and I had my 3 units of 3 multi-melter attack bikes and I went first, and you're just like, well, that wasn't fun for me either. I lost half my army turn 1, and now I have no response.
Yep, and it's a very binary list like that.
Yeah, it's a win big, lose big scenario. What do you see Ben walking away from this game with? I see almost 100 points.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a little short because he missed that first engage.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be down 3 because of Retrieve Octarius can't be maxed out. So, he's looking at most a 94. I don't see any reason he doesn't get it. The only reason
he doesn't get a 94.
The only reason I see that he wouldn't get it is if he tries to take his foot off the gas, trying to get a little lower in the rankings, so he doesn't maybe pop up so high and hit something scary.
That's legit a consideration. If he wants to duck a couple of the AdMech behemoths, which will really cause him issues, he needs to actually like pump the brakes right now. Yeah, which it's just a thing you got to do, especially in a 9-round event. How sick would it be, man? How freaking sick would it be to have a custom stomper in the top 8 though?
Oh, I'd be pumped. I'd be so pumped for
man.
that. Ben's been running this list for about 6 months now, so he's got the reps with it. He's played in a bunch of different environments, but I think he's got a chance to go deep with it.
Easy done. All right, guys, we're going to head back to our Marine game. We're going to get this rig switched over to the Junior Flgn game, hopefully, and we'll see essentially the Blood Angels, because this is the two guys who got 100 points in round 1 playing off each other. It's Blood Angels versus AdMech, and a lot of people are keen to see if Junior can hang. We know Junior can hang. Sorry, this is a man that hits T-Whip more often than not. Whether the Blood Angels in the right hands at the top level can hang with the top army in the game right now. What are you seeing here, brother? Any much changed?
Well, let me get the screen back pulled up. Sorry, I had to. There's some sort of properties for browser 2 in my way. Oh, there we go. Okay. I don't see a whole lot changed. I think they're maybe still working out some combat for Oliver's turn, but I don't see anything really missing on the Dark Angel side yet, or the White Scars side. Yeah, it looks like he's doing some shooting. It looks like he's shooting some Contemptors into those that back unit of Terminators right now.
Yeah, it'll be the unit all the way on the far left hand side. Yeah. Okay, we've just had a headset going. It looks like we're going to get a mobile cam set up at Junior's game, and the hot news right now is it's not looking good for the Blood Angels. Very interesting. I'll take a minute and pull those lists up, unless you'd like to while I call the game.
Yeah, I think I've already. No, I don't have those ones yet, but I can keep going with this game while you're calling that. So it looks like we're getting some saves from Matt here. At least I saw at least 1-6 get rolled for that Contemptors Volkite. But I'm not seeing him pull any models yet. Let's see how many he pulls. Looks like he didn't pull any models. That's the beauty of those 2-up saves. They can just bounce those Volkites off him if they don't get enough mortals through. So looks like that Terminator unit weathered the first volley. Here comes the second volley. And looking for any ones. I'm not seeing any more ones. So I think they've just survived another volley. The beauty of 2-up saves.
It's really, they're going into the 2-up saves. It really relies on him getting a bunch of 6s in order to really put some pain on him. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Actually, I've just realized our top table is 2 Team Zero comp players playing against each other, which is quite interesting. We had Mr. Frankie G and Puppy Papa on last round from Team Zero comp as well. It's cool to see that team get some decent representation again. It's been a while since I've seen them out in strength, and it's just amazing.
Well, I'm just glad to see Frankie defend his title as the greatest player in 40K.
Absolutely. Dude, I love his list. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
He's playing an Argent Shroud Brigade.
Oh, that's right. He's playing Sisters.
Freaking sick. He's just got min-maxed multi-melters at the wazoo, and then just a bunch of really well-priced units, well-sized units. It can do everything, that list. I'm really big fan.
Why did I say I didn't see it when I watched you and Adam stream the first game?
Me and Adam.
Yeah, sorry, you and Falcon.
Yeah. Me the Falcon. There is only Adam. I am the Thanos of 40K.
Adam speaks so fast. He actually does a Falcon impression and does both halves of the commentary.
It's correct. Every time you see the Falcon, it's actually just me with a beard on. I just put the beard on. Yeah. It's a little known fact. Canadians and Australians very close to the same thing.
Yeah, very easily confused.
Yeah, we're going to get switched to the junior game. We're going to get a quick call there. This one looks like we're about to go into the fight phase, into the charge phase here. It looks like it got at least 1, maybe 2 units of Vanguard vets going into that central unit of Terminators, and we'll switch back and see what the flow-on effect of that is coming to the next phase. Looks like he's rolling up the charges right now.
Yeah. Ooh.
I rolled a 4. Probably enough still.
Yeah, it's probably enough, but you hate to see those.
Yep. He's going in deep as well. He's going right to the other hang. I thought he would just stay on the other side.
Yeah, fight through the wall. Make him come to you.
Exactly right.
Because then you're going to be sitting on 3 objectives and just saying, hey, plot my banner. All right, and you can make that play that you were talking about, trying to draw him out of that midfield.
interested to know what that unit is. Is it the Deathwing Knights? I think I see the Deathwing Command Squad right at the back of the board.
Yeah.
So there's a 5-man unit of Deathwing Terminators, 10-man unit of Deathwing Terminators. I would assume that's the Deathwing Knights pushing up on foot in order to be the harassing one, because they're the only one that doesn't have OBSEC.
Yeah, and I think the 10-man Deathwing Knights was the unit that was on the screen right now, the top objective that was catching that Volkite fire.
Yeah, exactly right. Canada, you mean ICE Australia? Damn straight. Exactly right.
How many animals want to kill you in Canada?
They still got polar bears, and moose and kangaroo is not too far a comparison.
Slightly different, but okay, we'll go with it.
They're both kind of terrifying, but for different reasons.
Yeah, man, is that another 4-inch charge?
I think that's another 4, and I think that's another one that's enough. There must be a bunch of guys under that overhang. There must be a far bigger unit than we thought.
Yeah, or maybe a character or something under there.
Yeah. That's going to be 3 units of Vanguard vets. I want to know how many CP the Dark
can he interrupt?
trading,
Can he interrupt?
because an interrupt might be real bad here.
Yeah. You got to keep your eye on those, because you know I'm real bad at it when I get zealous for the combat phase.
Yeah, man.
I run everything in, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna roll this guy done, and then my opponent's like, I'm gonna interrupt, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll wait.
Exactly right. Yeah, some people are pointing out that they listen to my voice far too much. I am not going to apologize for that. I think I've got a wonderful voice. No, I do. So it's fine, guys. Thank you so much for supporting me if you do. And thank you so much for supporting this stream. Frontline Gaming are doing and really pushing the envelope with this, the amazing amount of events that they're putting all over the States. And I'm just so happy to be part of the streaming production here, and hopefully bringing those events to your doorstep, and hopefully giving you some encouragement to jump out and get involved and support them yourselves when they come to your town. So here's the first unit of the Vanguard vets going in. Look, they're going to have 4 attacks each, I believe. And I'd be interested to know, this is turn 2, isn't it? I don't think this is turn 3. We haven't seen enough.
I think we missed the top of Dark
Yeah.
Angels 1, so I think we're in the bottom of White Scars 2.
There was an option here for him to wait to turn 3 before going in. Do you think that waiting for the
Well, maybe not.
damage?
Look at the primary scores. Either the primary score is not updated, or we're not in turn.
We're not even
in. Okay. Scores aren't updated, because I was like, Michael scored nothing and he's sitting on 2 objectives. How did he score nothing?
If this was me, I would have waited till turn 3. Knowing that I could push, 15, 20 Vanguard vets in at one point, waited for turn 3, get to the 2 damage, overwhelm. Yeah. And the other thing I would have done, I may not have divided or combat squadded all my units. Having been on a 5 objective mission and knowing he's just going to park on 2, I may have kept the 10-mans together. And
then I believe you have a strat then to put them in Assault Doctrine. I think that's
exactly.
Yeah, so right. then you can really kind of leverage that benefit on a 10-man unit, because I don't think a 5-man unit is enough to deal with one of those Terminator bricks.
Yeah, exactly right. Looks like we've lost at least 1 Terminator from that first combat, with some wounds being done to another. I'm interested to see if he does go again with another unit, or we see the interrupt. I'd be really surprised if he's got the CP to interrupt and he doesn't. Be very, very surprised.
Yeah, it just depends on. We can't see. Oh, he's pulling 2 there.
2. There's another. There's 3 down.
3. Yeah. I don't know if he's down to a 2-man. I don't know that a 2-man's.
I don't know. Yeah. If it's only 2 guys left, then you don't. You save the CP. Accept that they're lost. But this looks very, very good for Oliver. This staging point with these 15 guys, half of which are going to be sitting in cover or tapping it. It really cuts down the efficiency on the only real guns he has that are applicable, being the missile launchers. The missile launchers going into a 3+ save because they're going to have a 1-up in cover. It's just going to cut down on what they do, man, big time.
Yeah, that's definitely going to blow a lot of that firepower. I think the Cyclones also have Storm Bolters.
Yeah, it is, but the Storm Bolters ain't going to
be
nothing,
very
man.
ineffective. Yeah,
they're going to go into 1-up saves. So it's literally, you're just going to try. If you're lucky, you ping down a single 5-man, but then still 10's going to come into your next block of 5 guys. And we saw. I think I still don't know if that was the. I think the top left-hand unit. Wait a second. See, this is the thing with trying to pick Terminators. There's so little difference between the hooded heads and the not hooded heads. And I'm a guy. I put the hooded heads on freaking all of them.
So, if you're Dark Angels, why not put a hood on it? That's the point.
Exactly. They look sick. Why wouldn't you? And so it's really hard to differentiate which squads are which. It's only 5 Deathwing Knights. I still think that was the Deathwing Knights that we're seeing being invested upon now.
Yeah, because there's definitely more than 5 Terminators left on that objective on the left-hand side, and they've already taken some casualties. So I'd say that's the 10-man brick of Deathwing Terminators. What do you think about the terrain here? They also were doing player placed. I'm kind of surprised to see that there's so much of the obscuring ruins so far back for the White Scars player.
Yes, same. I thought he'd have one pretty much to leapfrog to. It looks like he didn't have like he has this nice staging point to go into his opponent's deployment zone, but he didn't have a good way to get there before
Yeah.
that. He had to
I'm
really
I'm
trust on some decent advances, I think.
I'm wondering if Michael dropped the first piece of terrain and dropped that large center ruin that we're seeing so that he could have a spot to put those Terminators in to just make them that much more durable. And then if Michael, put that down, does Oliver go, okay, well, I've got that I can stage off of. I don't need to, clog up the rest of the center of the table with ruins to cut down on my line of sight or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
good thought
exactly
process.
right. Yeah, it is. I do think that I do think the Deathwing player has done it right. He's kept his deployment quite sparse so that the essentially the Vanguard veterans have to come in a linear way. Can't play too many shenanigans. Deploy, get into a central hub, and then spread out and charge everything, because that's the last thing you want. Because you want them to stay in one thing. So if you can counter assault and put your characters and your smaller squads into them to support, you can get to one central place in order to have that fight, rather than trying to fight too many options. Because that's how I lose every Dark Angels game. I get spread too thin. I got too many points invested in too few units, and my opponent just plays silly buggers, runs around me, and I lose on the points.
Does it look like Samael's going on the hunt for you? He's down there on that bottom right objective.
He is. Mm-hmm.
Oh, he ran away. That old trick.
Brave, Sir Samuel. So he's used the hit and run tactic, the 2 CP hit and run, what it sounds like. Our table boss has just informed us. He was in combat with the bottom right hand of the three, the bottom right hand unit of the Vanguard vets. He has paid 2 CP and he has gotten out of dodge. And he's jumped onto the bottom right hand objective, contesting that and
That's good.
I think that's going to give him is that going to give him the 10? It's only going to give him the 10. He doesn't hold more than 15.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have that center objective, but that does free up Samael then to start running around and maybe tagging those contemptors.
Yep, get into his back line, make him turn around some assets, maybe make some plays in order to stop you. Start tapping those. It's actually a really, really, really good spot where you can tap 2 contemptors at once, and that looks like a very saucy option. Shutting those down, that shooting, that pretty much means like you stop them shooting for a turn or two. That's all it takes to guarantee that Terminators make it to the end.
Yeah, and it does look like there's at least one Terminator left alive in that center ruin.
Oh yeah, there will be one, and he's not going to break they're in a circle. They don't care about morale. He's just going to sit there. Now, interesting, he has to make a leadership test in order to fall back from those guys. And I'd be interested to know if the opponent didn't consider wrapping him, because I would wrap him. I'd wrap him up, wrap him tight, give him a big old Vanguard.
I don't think I've seen any consolidate moves yet.
Yeah, I saw the top squad, the one closest to the center objective, did do a consolidate. They pushed down towards that middle guy, which, to your point, shows that he was still there. But yeah, those 2 squads, one of them only charged Samael, rather, so that one was kind of left hanging. But that one did have a pylon and consolidate that would have gone towards that guy, so he could have had an easy 6-inch move to get around him if he wanted to.
Yep. Oh, there we go. I mean, oh no, I thought he was about to move him.
Nah, sitting pretty. Do we have the handicam over on Junior's game, Mr.
There are technical issues behind the scenes. I know that shocks the internet.
What is this?
Well, I mean, the verbal update we got was Blood Angels were looking like they were in a tough spot, folks. So we'll try to get that game up for you when we can.
We able to get a score update from that one, please, if our table boss is at all ready and willing. And if we want, and the Stomper game is still going, we'll go back for a minute or two. Just we'll get a Stomper game back up and going. Just get a couple of minutes there.
I'd be surprised if the Stomper game was still continuing.
Now, this is the game. This is the turn for the Dark Angels.
Man, look at that guy's beautiful mullet. Hold on.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. Didn't you see that guy? It's freaking phenomenal.
That was beautiful.
I have no idea what his name
is.
There he is. He's our table boss. I can't remember his freaking name. I think it's Jeff, or Joseph. Yeah. Amazing.
Well, his last name's Walker. I'll tell you that much.
But yeah, this is the pivotal turn for the Dark Angels. They need to make plays. I'm interested to know. See the 5-man? You see the 5-man unit that's sitting in the to our mind right now is the upper left-hand objective. That needs to go in charge. It can't just sit there and just think, oh, cool, I'll just get some more points this turn. Go in, charge. You need to remove some of these Vanguard vets. Put a character on that. Get the character screened off from shooting from that unit of of Deathwing Knights that Deathwing Command Squad that you have right in the back top left-hand corner, and then start pushing in, making some inroads, get rid of some of these aggressive assets, so you can just not get harassed for the rest of the game, which is exactly what's going to happen.
And then go back to his plan of just riding out on those secondaries.
Yeah, reach out, neuter some stuff, and then go back. As soon as it's like less than 10 Vanguard vets coming into that squad, it survives. And not only does it survive, it probably kills them on the return.
What's you're Dark Angels intelligent. What's the secondary where you just have to sit on the objective that's unique to them? What's it called?
Stubborn Defiance, or like
and he took that?
Call it Stubby D.
He took that. I wonder which objective he declared for that with, because if he declared it on the 5-man, that's rough then, because he has to give up on that objective.
In this game, to my mind, there's no way you do it on the 5-man. But at the same time, when you move your objectives, it's after you move your objectives, you declare which one it is and which one is your priority target as well. Would be very clever of him to have done the top objective, the one the furthest onto the left when we're looking at it from the Dawn of War angle, and to have the 10 men on there. It'd be very clever to have the 10 men on there for both Stubborn Defiance and priority target. Just get a nice clean 30 off that single unit standing there, which means you don't feel bad about having like 350 odd points just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah, because that's a solid chunk of points for that unit to bring in.
Well, you think about it, mate. That's getting 5 points a turn as well. In all reality, it gets you 50 points, that unit.
Yeah,
5 points over 4 turns for primary, and then 30 points secondary. It's
and if someone asked you, Adam, are you willing to spend 350 points to get 50 points guaranteed during a game? Like, yes, 100%.
Exactly right. We've been pointed out that watching the players rock back and forth is not as much fun as seeing the full table. I like this view, and I think this view is going to become and is going to glean more and more benefits to us as we go further and deeper into the event. I'd love to watch guys like Len and guys like Naden, their body language during key moments of a game. It really tells me a lot about how they feel they're going. I'm really looking forward to those moments. What do you think of this view?
I've been enjoying it because I think. One, at the end of the day, this game's about making friends and getting to know people and getting the players' faces out there. I like doing that because we can talk about these names, but half the time it's just a name on a piece of paper.
Exactly right.
Now we get to see a guy. We get to hey, and then if you know Oliver and you're like, oh hey, that's Oliver. When the next event you go up to, be like, hey man, I saw you play on stream. You can recognize him. You can go, that was the guy that was playing White Scars.
Yeah.
So I like that end of it. I'm not too much into reading body language. It's not my forte. I read animal body language, but we can also crowd watch. People watch. There's John Lennon in the back there. We would have missed Walker's amazing mullet. Like, how do you guys not want that content? I don't know. But I certainly understand wanting to be able to see the table bigger.
Yeah, exactly right. Let's get that big view of the table. If Rich is listening right now, we could be trying to get some tech support happening, so we get to do that junior Flgn game. But otherwise, it looks like we're going into the Dark Angel's turn. Did I see him deep striking, or was that him? Did I see him deep striking below that unit of Vanguard? Which would lead me to believe that he possibly has his. Yeah, is that a single unit model he's deployed there, just below that middle unit of Vanguard? Just to the right, the bottom right of the central ruin.
Yeah, heading towards that orange rhino.
Yeah, can we hit the transition on that, please? And if we can, get an enhance down onto that unit. If we can't, and it's asking too much right now, just ignore me. So to the left of the rhino, there is a single model unit. I'd love to see what that guy is. Apparently, we got it. Is the word from Richard? He's gonna do it. The madman. This could be the end of the world. So
we could break the whole stream right here. It could all fall apart.
Collapse. It just inverts into a black hole, and the world is over.
Ooh, all right.
Bottom to the right. What are you?
I think that's one of the.
I think
that has a squad mark on it. That is one of the White Scars models. That's got squad marks on it.
Would that be what? He's only got.
Maybe that's his. Yeah, one of his characters. What does he got for characters?
He's only got a Tech Marine and Kasaro Khan. Could that be Khan?
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't try to chuck Khan forward with all those Vanguard vets. Seems like I don't know. The Tech Marine, I think, is just going to sit back and babysit those dreadnoughts.
Yeah, it's either Khan or geez, it could be bloody anything, guys. I'm really interested to know where Sammy goes from here. Is that the Rhino charging into Sammy? I didn't think he was in combat with him before, but they definitely look like they're within engagement range
I
right
mean, he's
now.
taking damage off it.
It has, it's true. Or maybe we're already we could already be into the fight phase for the Dark Angels in all likelihood. Their shooting phase is like, here are my four missile shots and my 8 Stormbolter shots.
It's a lonely Vanguard vet. That makes sense. That's why it's got the squad mark on it.
I'm sorry for wasting our time, guys. I thought it was something interesting. So it's the remnants of a 5-man.
Yeah.
There you go.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. Although that doesn't make sense on my calculations. So he's got 5. He's got 5 squads, doesn't he? Because he's got 2 10-mans he splits up in a single 5-man.
Yeah, so he could go
5-man. Yeah, there's a 5-man directly up the middle of the board, just in front of a land speeder Storm. And I thought that put my calculations off. But that makes all the more sense.
Did Samael take that Rhino down to 2 wounds?
It looks like it. So on the charge, that guy is like 6 attacks, strength 8 minus 3 or 4, depending on which doctrine you're in, and 2 damage. So yeah, he's got good odds of smashing down a Rhino.
No, he got it.
He got it, man. Interested to see if anybody gets out of it, where those multi-melters may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where they are. Looks like we've got the Vanguard vets activating next, because of course they would go before the single Deathwing, whatever it is.
Nothing's getting out of that.
No, nothing's getting out of it.
He's consolidated.
He spent another 2 CP on Sammy and bounced him out of dodge again. He's bounced him right to the bottom right-hand corner. This is the power of things like Samael, things like the Talon Masters as well. I usually like having a killy Talon Master to emulate what Sammy's doing right now. He's a little bit less killy, but he's in combat, but he's way more killy from range. And I love to do jank with him, like what Sammy's doing right now, just being like a harassing piece, an annoying piece. And you talk about things like Death Copters in the new decks maybe being something similar.
Yeah, I certainly think there's a lot of really good units like that in the Orc Codex. I personally am not quite sold on Death Copters just because their 50 points a piece price tag is kind of steep. But War Bikers are 25 points a piece, and they can move 22 inches when they're in Evil Sons. And they're T5, 3 wounds, 4 up armor, -1 to hit, and they're just good. Having those fast moving, durable units that you can just kind of move block your opponent, get on objectives when there's an angle to get on them. Having those opportunities. I mean, movement is king in 9th edition. So having something that can get around and get places is how you win the game.
Just going to request if we can get an update from the table boss about what these scores actually are sitting right now on this one. Right now it's sitting as 27 to Oliver, to 23 to Michael. Look, that could be up to date. That could very well be up to date. They're not tracking too bad, but there should be some points on Stubborn Defiance already. They should have at least 2 points there, almost guareed, or maybe that's what they're adding up right now. Maybe that's going in as we speak, and I'm just getting ahead of myself. Any update of where we're sitting with the junior game? Where are we able to do there?
Yeah.
Wonderfully. Sorry, what's the next big event you're able to go to, Seth? Whereabouts are you sitting with your events?
So the actual next event I'm going to is Charity Hammer, which is what I'm madly preparing for this weekend by building as many orc models as I can possibly build.
What are you building?
So right now I built 6 of the new Squighog Riders. I converted up 2 of the beast bosses on Squigosaurs. I've got a Smash a Knob on Smash a Squig built, and I've got to build 2 more Rocket Truck Squig Buggies, and then I hopefully should be getting 6 more Squighog Boys, and getting all that built and painted in the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
How many points do you have? How many points of orcs do you have so far?
Oh, total, I have over 10,000 points in orcs. It's just getting the new stuff up to speed, because I really want to tinker around with that and see how that feels. And then rocket trucks were so good, you just can't not take them.
Fair enough.
What did I just see get pulled off the table?
Yeah, I'm just looking to see what that could be. I assumed as soon as I saw him do that, I was like, he's got a unit of infiltrators. He's going to guerrilla tactics. He doesn't have any infiltrators. Yeah. He doesn't have infiltrators in his army. What did he pick up?
And it's his movement phase, right? So why would he be? Maybe it
I
was just
wasn't a.
maybe it was a dead pile that he was
Oh,
moving.
maybe it was just a dead pile he had sitting there.
So we are up to date according to El Jefe. So now
Nice.
we're sitting at 42 points for Oliver and 26 for Michael. I guess Stubborn Defiance, does that not trigger yet? When does that start triggering?
It starts. So turn 2 you get 2 points. Turn 3 3 points. Turn 4 5. Turn 5 5.
So he should have
there
already
should be
been 2
should
points
be
on
some
that.
should definitely be some points in there. So it's currently sitting 42 to 26. We're able to get a bit more of a zoom out on the table. We've got pretty much the majority of things accounted for. I'm just quite actually, yeah, I can see everything. Top people who can't see the stuff that's being cut off. There's a land speeder storm all the way to the right of screen. Right at the bottom behind that last contemptor, and then all the way to the right of screen right now, you can see another land speeder storm nestled in a little pocket of Vanguard veterans. But apart from that, you're pretty much seeing everything. Right at the top, you'll notice there is what looks to be the rest of a Redemptor Dread. That's pretty much his only decent shooting asset left available to him. That guy needs to get on his bike and do some significant work this turn. As you can see, the Vanguard vets, they jumped straight through that ruin, and he looks like he's about to swamp the 5-man on that home objective.
Yep. He's getting right on in there. Looks like he sent that lone Vanguard vet up as well, maybe to try to soak Overwatch or something. Just to contribute a few more attacks. He's gonna go down. Looks like my bet is the Contemptors are all gonna form a nice little conga line and try to pop off on Samael.
Yeah, exactly right. We're being told in the chat that Frankie. Beautiful. We got told that Frankie Giampapi got a 94-point win over Nicholas Xiang. 94 to 21. That's a paddling.
Yeah. I want to see if the orc score is in. Actually, let me go check. Yeah, Frankie's already got a score in.
Yeah,
there's not a score in yet for the. Oh, they updated it. That was a clerical error. He did get 2 points. Michael did get his 2 points for Stubborn Defiance.
There you go. Good stuff. So that's sitting at 28 to 42. I think this is the last turn that's really going to be of any notable significance for the Dark Angels player. I think he's going to get swamped and cut down to holding a single objective, with the White Skies being in pretty much dominance on the table. And this could go from bad to even worse, seeing as if he wants to double and triple down, he's just going to put the Vanguard vets into that 5-man, and all 3 Contemptors go into the 10-man. And who knows, could use 2 or 3 there. Eventually, they'll wear that down. We're going to try and get you guys a Sean Naden game instead. I believe we're switching parameters here. Have you seen Sean Naden's list?
It's the classic Sean Naden list of Eldar I don't understand.
Well, it's the best line of sight shooting army in the game right now, I think. It's patent made to take advantage of the player place terrain, and I think it's very strong.
Yeah,
I think it's very well picked in this this environment, this meta, and that's it. That's his literal position. That's his trope. He's become the trope of counter meta-ness. He's incapable of taking a meta list.
Yeah, I mean that has been his calling card for years now. You never see anyone else pick up a Sean Naden list and run it to, anything the level of success that he can. So he's always staying one step ahead. And I enjoy that he stays mono, or not true mono faction, but he doesn't drift outside his little Eldar roots. He tends to just stay there and just find something that works, and I appreciate that.
He's so we have faction specialists, we have list specialist. He's a super faction specialist. He's made it his business to know everything about those 4 factions, sorry, if you count Ynnari. I don't count Ynnari. No one should count Ynnari,
I think Ynnari is a mistake that we should have all just left in 8th edition.
Exactly right. We should just move on. Never heard of it. Forget it. Yeah, get out of here.
No, we didn't. Nah, yeah, that didn't happen. Just move on.
Yeah. So his list is really interesting, though. It's got the 3 Shadow Weaver platforms. It's got the what's the tank? The Shadow Weaver tank? Is it Shadow Weaver? Whatever.
No, Shadow Weaver. That's the
I'm
the Night Spinner. Night Spinner. I'm looking at it now.
That's it. And it's got what really my eyes bugged out when I realized that Tempest launch is a blast, and that there are so many blocks of 20-man Vanguard and Raiders. Here we are.
Look at those beautiful Team America objectives. Those are some. There's still a fair amount of AdMech running around here.
Is this the junior game?
Yeah, this looks like. Because was Sean playing?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think this might be Sean Naden. I'm trying to get a decent look at
it's Sean Naden. I'm reading the dial.
For sure.
Read the dial. It says Sean Naden.
100%. Top right-hand corner, you see the bunker of what he was able to hide. Looks like he didn't get the pick of the better pieces of terrain, though, so he may not have gone first, because you'd assume he would have taken that L piece and just chucked that where that wall is.
clarifying point on that one, actually. The terrain that is in each player's half is set pre-game by
Of
FLG.
course.
So,
Yep.
I don't know what half he had. I guess I can try to pull that stuff up. I probly have access to it.
So you roll off and you get one half of the terrain, and then
Yeah.
you get the alternate placing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you already know which table half you have and what terrain half you have before you deploy. So, let me you keep talking. I'm going to see him pull up that packet real quick.
So yeah, guys, as soon as I saw that he'd switched, he usually takes the quick shot or the extra shot and the 3 damage on his he's ubiquitous at this point, 3 into 3 Dark Reapers, which he uses to phenomenal effect. But he's pivoted into taking the Tempest launchers, and yeah, Tempest launchers at auto 12 shots, always hitting on 3s. Doesn't matter if you're Shroud Armed. That have ignore cover, so it doesn't matter if you're Shroud Armed. And just wow, such incredible value in this meta, in this game at the moment. Really going to take a pound of flesh over just about anybody they go into. But still, man, like, he played against Knights in his first round, by the way, and I made a little anecdote while after the Thursday show being, man, Naden's list is amazing into the meta armies, but he could just run into a Gatekeeper and just be like, oh, I guess I lose. He did do that. He did that for round 1. He still got a 94. Like, he's still good. Still got a 94. What are you worried about, Adam? What are you concerned about? Are we able to give our full table view again, please? I'm just gonna quickly encapsulate this, but I think our man is waiting because he wants to get the scores up for you guys as well.
Terrain breakdown, real quick. So that particular table that they're playing on, the field-based table, each player has access to a woods, that kind of large hill, the little area terrain with the barricades on it, a crate, that red crate that each have access to, and then 2 little bunkers, and then one side has that large 2-level square ruin, and one side has the L. Oh boy, we are getting pretty spinny there. So if that's the case, that means that Sean placed the L.
Yes, it does mean Sean placed the L. Possibly he wanted so he looked at the wall and looked at the L, maybe made a value assessment that the wall gave him enough cover for being able to place it so deep in his deployment zone and really cut off the angles for people and getting around it. And then he also gave himself the ability to have the L available for that leapfrog to stage up all his offensive elements to really check the Admech's advance up the table.
Because he's running Harlequins and Skyweavers, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he is. So he's got 2 units of 5 Harlequins in Skyweavers. I'm just going to pull up his list really quickly. I was trying to find his opponents. His name's what is his opponent's name?
I can grab that for you.
Naden.
John is playing Luis Ortega.
Luis Ortega. Is it Luis or Louis?
I said Luis, so don't go with me.
They're probably both wrong, and it is a third thing.
Okay, maybe I was right. Maybe it was Luis.
You were correct, mate. His list, I'll do his list, then you can do Naden's. He's got a Lucius Patrol. Starts off with a Skitari Marshal because, best value 45 points in the freaking game right now. Text Priest Manipulus, next best value points in the game. Then he's got a unit of 16 Vanguard, a unit of 15 Vanguard, 1 unit of 5 Infiltrators, 2 units of 3 Cerberus Raiders, 2 Onagadun Crawlers. What they got, they have Heavy Phosphor Blasters. That's the 8-shot Strength 6 minus 2 damage. 2 Bombers. Then there's another patrol. This one is Mars. He has another Marshal. 2 units of 5 Rangers. A unit of Infiltrators. 2 units of 4 Ballistari. So 8 Ballistari, 3 Las Cannons, 1 Autocannon in each one, and another Onagadun Crawler. This one with an Icarus Array. This is an interesting list. This is far more MSU than we're used to.
Yeah. We're used to seeing those large bricks of 20 plus Skitari, and it really only has 2 large bricks, and they're both Vanguard. And a lot of Admech players like to run the mix of, a large brick of Vanguard, some large bricks of Rangers, depending on what kind of firepower they need in a given game.
Exactly right. Looking at Mr. Naden's list, he's got Expert Crafters and Masterful Shots. So that's the 1 free reroll. I thought Masterful Shots was Ignores Cover, but someone just told me that's the extra range. So I was incorrect there. You want to tell us about his list? What's he got?
Yep. So he is running first and foremost that custom Craft World detachment with an Autarch Skyrunner with Laser Lance, a Fireseer Skyrunner. He's got Guide and Doom on that. He's still getting some mileage out of Doom. Then he's running a unit of 9 Shadow Specters, a unit of 5 Shadow Specters, a unit of 4 Shining Spears, a unit of 5 Swooping Hawks, and then 3 units of 3 Dark Reapers, each of those Exarchs having the Tempest Launcher and long range fire. I'm not actually familiar with what long range fire does, so if chat wants to tell us what that one does, that'd be fantastic. He's got a Night Spinner, and then a support weapon battery of 3 Shadow Weavers, and then he is running a Harlequin's detachment, which is Soaring Spite. He's got a Troop Master with all the fixins, and then 2 units of 5 troops with fusion pistols and embraces. With looks like one unit has 1 caress in it, the other unit has 3 caresses in. I'm going to guess that's probably a points decision. Then we got a Death Jester with the Domino Shroud and Humbling Cruelty, and 2 Star Weavers.
I've just been pointed out to me that I was in fact correct. It is ignores cover on the masterful shots. For some reason, someone told me that wasn't, and I just automatically assumed I was incorrect. That is the last time you guys get one over on me now, chat. It's all uphill from here. No, because it is the long range fire that he has as his Exarch trait on his Dark Reapers. Thank you very much for chat for pointing that out. So he does have the extra range, but he also has the reroll, and he also has the ignore cover because Eldar still get a lot of rules. Get a lot of rules.
That is a lot of stacking on that one little man.
Yeah, phenomenal value, still really good value. Not all that efficient point for point in the new kind of paradigms of 9th edition, but there's still a lot of value there if you're good enough to extract it. It looks like the board position has really been taken over by the AdMech, which is what I assumed would happen now that I've seen these 2 lists. So many MSU options. For Lewis, it's actually kind of really imposing, and the profiles he's got, the things that Nathan's going to be shooting into, is either going to overkill or underkill. A lot of his strength 6 guns don't do diddly squat to Onagers, and they actually are kind of not great into the Ballistari. Now that I've got a 3+ armor save, he's going to have to really pop some 6s. And if he wants, and what I think has happened, those Ballistari are sitting right at the back board edge, and I'd be surprised if he is in range to shoot with a lot of those Night Spinner Shadow Weaver profiles.
Yeah. So the other thing, going back to the terrain for a second, that I think is going to be really important for this matchup, the woods and the obstacle area terrains have the obscuring keyword.
Yeah, FLG's put this in. I think that's kind of a concession to the fact that they realized they probably need 2, maybe 3 pieces more of larger ruins available to some tables, and in exchange, they've just added another keyword to the forest, which I think is a fair compromise.
Yeah, but that's really going to limit a lot of the firepower that we have here. He's going to have to move forward and touch like he has there with those 2 onagers. But that back unit of Iron Striders, I don't think they're going to have range or line of sight to much of anything, it looks like.
Yeah, exactly right. Look, we've got 1 squad. You can see 1 squad pushing up in the top, right at the top center.
They've touched that blitz to see that, but.
And they're being screened off by a unit of 3 Cerberus Raiders. Looks like we're going to see a charge here. Looks like there's 5 Harlequin troop that have come out of that. And it looks like they're going to go and try and tag those Ballistari. Very good call there. Try and get them off the table. And actually, funnily enough, the Ballistari shooting into combat against something like Harlequins aren't the most reliable things. As soon as they're hitting on 4s, and then they're wounding on 2s, but then you got a 4+ invulnerable save, things can swing pretty wild. And I'll tell you right now, Sean rolls like a fiend. He just rolls good. That is in no way attributing any misplay or any underhandedness whatsoever. The guy just rolls good. I played him at WTC, gave me my first 20-point loss, 20-0 I'd ever had. Never been absolutely dominated like that before. Guy rolled like a freak, and he's going to beat me anyway. But whatever.
So, I'm kind of surprised to see both these flyers still alive, because I think that would have been my prime way to try to get rid of all those Dark Reapers, would just be to fly over and drop bombs on each unit and try to pick them up.
Yeah, it's been pointed out in chat, the Night Spinners are 48. So that's what I thought. The Night Spinners might be out of range, but someone's pointed out the Shadow Weaver profiles are 60, so they've got the whole damn table. But yeah, the Night Spinner could very well be out of range. I actually, that Night Spinner is the furthest thing away. It is tucked right behind all those in the right back corner, so that's not going to get many shots off. Not that you really want to. If Sean would probably be like, man, if you want to keep your Ballistari out of the freaking game, that's fine, mate. That's fine. Let's play with the rest of the table.
Yeah. And the Night Spinner can work well in this scenario, because I bet you those Cerberus Raiders were pushed forward early on in the game, and you don't necessarily want to, you only have so many units of Shadow Specters to fire, and you don't want to commit that firepower to one of those smaller units when you've got a kind of target selection that might be better for the Night Spinner.
Exactly right. This AdMech list is a bit eclectic, isn't it? doesn't have a single 20-man. It's got a 15 and it's got a 16 and a 15-man Vanguard unit. So not a single big unit of raiders. It's got 2 small Cerberus raider units, 3 Onagers as well. I would have thought it's a bad meta for the Phosphor Blasters. The strength 6 -2 2 damage profile. Maybe he's taken that for the mirror match, because that strength 6 -2 2 damage is good into Lucius blobs. Hitting on 3s with some plusity here. I don't know if they can do that because they're not core now that I've said it. But hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, getting past Lucius with -2 seems all right.
Yeah, I'm also kind of surprised not to see more kind of close combat counterpunch in this list. I think Sean's going to really have that advantage there with some of his combat units, that he can kind of just force the fights to occur where he wants them to occur.
Yeah, exactly right. Spot on. I think he's because he has all the aggressive elements. It's really the press is really on Lewis to make sure his screens are like nigh on perfect. He needs to have those Cerberus Raiders working to like picture perfect qualities. That plane did get picked up. We did see one of the bombers picked up. He has got 2 of them. The other one's either. So there's one right at the left of the table. The other one did get picked up. The bombers, I don't know if the bombers play much of a role in this game. I think probably the best thing you could do is get them blown up next to all the line of sight shooting.
Yeah. Oh, there goes the other one.
There goes the other one. Get them blown up next to the Dark Reapers. That'd be the best thing you could do.
They have the auto explode strat.
Exactly. Yeah, get them blown up, because then you just D3 all those Dark Reapers and you can really smash them down.
Yep. And I bet you Sean wanted nothing to do with that, so that's probably why they're gone.
Exactly right. Looks like still all the Ballistari are still there. All the Onagers are still there. I'd be interested to know what the scores are of the game right now and what turn they are in. Sean is known for playing a very patient game at times and very methodical in his approach. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is like turn 3 even. But if that is, I do think he's going to be down on the scoreboard. I really want to know what his secondaries are, if we can get those updated ASAP.
Just always putting those table bosses to work. You're just cracking the whip.
Well, what are they there for, mate? Come on, chop chop.
I don't know what they're there for. I was supposed to help out earlier, and they're like, "Well, do you want to commentate instead?" Oh, okay.
We did just have the scores updated wonderfully. Mr. Sean Naden has taken priority targets, of course, as you would do, to the last and Stranglehold. That is a big bold
to the last. Yeah. What is this to the last units? I have to go look.
Same. You go have a look. You tell me when you figure it out, because I'm scratching my head right now. I've got no idea what they'd be.
80.
Lewis has taken engaged all fronts, eradication of flesh, and priority targets. Eradication of flesh is an interesting one. It's you killing more infantry units than they kill mechanized units. And so this could be a really big reason why Sean decided to target the planes in order to make sure he gets a nice fat nice fat donut on that. Sean's ones are interesting.
Yeah.
This might be Sean's turn 1. If this is Sean's turn 1, they haven't scored any primary. Which is bizarre.
Yeah. So for the 2 to the last for Sean, he has the large unit of Shadow Specters. Looks like it's going to be one of them, and then it comes down to his indirect fire. His Shadow Weaver and his that Shadow Weaver unit and that Night Spinner unit.
That seems like it is perfectly tailored for what he's brought. So very clever on his part. I expect nothing less. In fact, I demand nothing more. But so that unit of Harlequins has posted up onto that top left hand corner objective. Interested to see where that charge comes in. Sean has a decent shooting phase. You wouldn't think it. You'd think he'd just be shooting his line of sight pieces and then you're done and dusted. But do you know much about Shadow Specters, mate?
No, I have no clue what they do. I think I knew what they did in like 7th edition.
Fair enough. Apparently there's some squealing or beeping in the background that's getting quite frustrating for some of our listeners.
Yeah, that's my bird.
That's your bird?
Yes.
Holy crap, that is so much better. I thought it was just some Texan.
Give me a second, guys. I will fix that. I'll be right back.
I need to hear this now. You've got to. There's a story, okay? There's a story to be told all of a sudden. I'm looking up Shadow Specters for you guys. So these guys are movement 12, weapon skill, bliss skill 3 plus, strength, toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 8, 3 plus a save. No, I do not breathe. They have a prism rifle, which they come with stock, dispersed profile, 18-inch assault D6, strength 5 -1, 1 damage. So a heavy flamer profile, but 18 inches instead of D6. Instead of 12. It is blast in addition, and it's blast D6, so they don't auto hit, but you get blast in exchange. And they are assault, so you can do a lot of things. You can advance with them. You're already movement 12, which is fantastic. And their focused beam is assault 24, one shot, strength 6, -3 damage. They come with a couple of different things. Of course, they're Ancient Doom and Battle Focus. Each time attack is made against them, -1 from the hit roll. Shadow of Death Aura, whilst an enemy is in 6 of this unit, subtract 1 from their leadership. And then lastly, the Shade of Twilight. During deployment, you can set this unit up in the shadows instead of deployment, and it comes down your move phase. So they got Deep Strike. So they got Deep Strike, -1 to hit, -1 leadership. And then they got some pretty saucy output weapons. The reason I thought this guy was taking them, the reason I thought I saw them here, is because they are going to be his defensive option. He's got a couple of small offensive pieces, like the 2 units of Harlequins, the single unit of 4 Shining Spears that he has as well, with the Star Lance. I think it's the Laser Lance on the Exarch. So that's really nice little offensive packages there. But then you have these Shadow Spectres that I feel like play the duality role. And what I really, really love them for is to be the interceptor. We see a lot of people arriving from reserve with things like Retributors, things like Repentia, and things of that ilk, or people even using Lucius to redeploy blocks of 20 man. This is a phenomenally good unit. 8d6, strength 5, -1 shots. Bang, slap right into the face of that unit, cut the unit in half before they get to shoot, and you take something they thought was going to be an offensive weapon for them and rip the throat out of it. Really, really, really good. In addition, they're also phenomenal actual monkeys, as it was pointed out. They really get in deep when you want them to. They're very quick. They can shoot after they assault in. After they charge. Not a charge, sorry. Shoot after they assault. Advance. Why am I? Whatever. Seth, where are you? Save me.
I'm back. I'm just seeing Walker's glorious mullet return.
And they can
but Chat, I apologize for my bird. He was grumpy. He wanted attention. So if you hear him again, just let me know, and I will go talk to him about how he needs to be respectful while we're on stream.
So what is your bird's name?
Chuck.
Chuck. What kind of bird is he?
He's a 53-year-old umbrella cockatoo.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, he's
champion.
He tries to make cameos in many of the things that I do, but fortunately for our beloved director, usually when we're doing signals, he's asleep, so we don't have to deal with him at night. But today during the day, he was like, "Hey, you're upstairs and not down here. Can you come down here?" And then I was like, "Nope." And then we had the screaming.
Dude, not even mad. Chuck's a champ.
Yep.
Chuck can interrupt whenever he wants.
No, that was quiet for his level of interruption. He hadn't gone full bore. That's why I hadn't stopped him yet.
Jim Vessels joined us and he complained. Oh well.
Jim, I love you, but man, you are really trying to take that throne of saltiest man in 40K.
No comment from me. I love Jim. Jim in my mind can do no harm. We're seeing some charges come through. Looks like this is the Starweaver has just tapped into a combat. Interested to see if the Harlequins follow suit now, or whether they're too worried about a possible reprisal from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Richard, I can hear you right now. What's up?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they are on the bottom of one.
Legitimately, when I saw the table state, I'm like, yeah, Sean hasn't lost anything, and Yadmek's barely lost anything. Bottom of one, these guys need to get on their bike. How long is left in the round? Richard,
they've got a clock on the table.
They do. Sean will forever play with the clock. He is the best with the clock.
They should have about an hour left in the round, just kind of based on what time of day it is.
Yeah, exactly right. Did we want to get a quick check-in on the Marine game? See where that's sitting right now. As we left it off, it was looking at the crux point for the White Scars to snap that game, close it off, and get it on their terms. With what look to be 2.5, possibly even 3 full-size units of Vanguard vets investing into 5 Deathwing Terminators.
Those more brave Terminators.
And seeing as this one is actually only just getting going, it sounds like we will be talking for the full duration of this round, which I think has got another hour and a half left in it. I think so.
Let's see if we got any more score updates in the old BCP.
Yeah, give us an update. Give us a little.
We got the Ben Jurek game. game.
Yikes!
Did you make a prediction? Did you make one? I don't know. If you made one,
we both said he was going to get the maximum that he could get, which was around 93, 94.
He got 97. To 18.
How did he get 97?
So he missed out on 3 points for,
which was all he could get for. He was only going to get 12 for.
And he
maxed engage.
Yeah, he must have maxed engage then. So we must not have had the correct score there. But Aiden walked away with 18 points. Sorry, Aiden. That's just sometimes how the stompa goes, man.
Yikes, yikes, yikes. The real problem there is like even if he had taken a big loss, you can still make it to that final top 8
Yeah.
with one L, with that L being an 18. Sorry, brother, almost no chance. Hopefully, he can butter up Mr. Aiden Poole, can have a great showing for the rest of the event. Next time, my advice: leave SK on the table, leave SK on the shelf. Unfortunately, his day may come around again soon, but as it is right now, he's a bit of a paperweight.
All right.
So they're in turn 1, and Sean has 39 minutes left on the clock, and his opponent has 29 minutes left on the clock.
That's the best weapon against an AdMech player right there, the clock.
Is it? Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it really? Why does it have to come to this?
I don't know. But that's, I mean, it's a very complicated army, and you've got to make a lot of decisions and who's getting what buff and yada, yada, yada. That takes a lot of thought process, and you're not really cognizant of how much time you're spending when you're going through all that. So, certainly this is an army to be mindful of when you're playing, to, stay focused. And it looks like, people didn't like having the player view, but it looks like they're having a nice chat. So it doesn't look like they're really stressing and hustling for time right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. But yeah, this is freaking Neil Kerr, the amazing, the wonderful Neil Kerr, is in the chat being an absolute savage. Feel free to shine on, you crazy diamond. You go for it. We will get an update. Have we got any other scores come through? Is the junior game wrapped up? I'd love to know what happens there.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Fair enough. I'll go quickly to the placings and see who's got their second rounds going down. But man, this has been an interesting round so far. Man, I'm just real happy to see that stompa
for John Camacho's game. John Camacho wins 91-42 against Kevin Raymond.
Nice, and we know Frankie's already got his nice chunky 94-point win in as well. Interesting, Frankie is kind of skating the top. He got a 77 and now a 94. He's sitting really pretty right now to skate just under the top dogs, and that's probably where he wants to sit perfectly. If you want to go deep into a 6 round, if you want to go deep into a freaking 9 rounder, there is an Icarus level or an Icarus stigma around things. Are you able to describe what that is for people?
What Icarus is? Yeah, sure. So, it's the old fable of flying too high and then your wings melt, which is what happened to Falcon. That's why he's not here, folks.
Exactly right.
I'm kidding. I love you, Falcon. But, there's certainly in an event like this, there's going to be some players that score very highly with very strong armies, and trying to more or less let those players fight amongst themselves, if you can avoid it, let them knock each other out, and then you only have to play maybe 1 or 2 really hard, counters or matchups, as compared to scoring really high, really early in the event, and then you're playing those hard matchups, rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you're just, the more often you have to have the hard counter, the more often you have to have the hard matchup, the more likely that one of these times a crucial die roll is going to not play well in your favor. The more likely, you'll go second when you need to go first, or just, one of those scenarios occurs.
Exactly, damn right, my man. And in a 9-round event, you really have to pace yourself. If you conceivably think you're going to make it to round 8, round 9, and be in a chance to win this, you want to have as many of your faculties intact as possible, which means taking it easy when you can, not always pushing your brain and your body to the limits. It's certainly an endurance sport, these 9-rounders, and no, there'll be no disparaging words on my part. I've played in a couple of CanCons, which are 8-rounders, except the difference there is everybody plays 8 rounds. There's no cutting to a top, and man, that's played in the middle of summer in usually a big hot shed full of like sweaty nerds. Like you can see this haze, the BO haze hangs like a pall above the table. You can sometimes you just open your mouth too hard.
You're giving me flashbacks to ATC.
Yeah.
ATC.
I've heard this. Yeah, sorry, go.
ATC. The last year that it was in person, I guess it actually hasn't been held then, but whatever. You guys know what I meant. You know what I meant. It was in a large metal building without air conditioning in Tennessee in the summer, and it was like 500 guys in there for like 3 days. It was just like an oven of nerd sweat.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, it was. So when they announced it, like after that event, they were like, next year we're going to be in an actual convention center with AC. I was like, oh my God, yes, please do that.
I think put everyone through their paces. BMI, 40K shouldn't be comfortable. That's a lie. You should be very comfortable. It should be very enjoyable, and every effort should be made to make players comfortable. We're going to get a transition. We're going to hit transition back over to the Marine game, seeing as we know we're going to be able to talk about what's happening on the Short and Aiden game for like at least the next hour. Let's see where the fundamentals and the big points are happening here. Bottom of the screen, mate. What do you see?
I'm seeing looks like the Contemptors have moved up to midfield. I'm not seeing any more Terminators on that bottom left objective. So I think the Vanguard vets were able to clear that out. And it looks like the Dark Angels are just down to that last 10-man brick on that upper left objective with that Redemptor Dread. So I don't see Samael anymore. I think he got aced.
He got. Yeah,
Yep.
that's where in my mind the Contemptors would have gone if you didn't want to go into those the left hand unit of Terminators. Looks like that Terminators do have the Ancient there, which I believe is given a -1 damage banner, making the 2 damage shots from the Volkites like nigh on useless unless you roll a 6.
Yep.
So once Sammy got picked up, the board is the White Scars, and this game is to the White Scars now as well. What's our victory points looking like?
Right now it's looking like Oliver's at 71 and Michael's at 36.
Freaking yikes! That blew out really hard. If that bottom objective, the one with the Vanguard vets on now, was the priority targets and was a Stubborn Defiance, you'd almost shake right now. You'd just be like, "Yep, cooked, done," because that is 2 of his secondaries essentially locked out. And to the last for the Dark Angels,
they might be doing that right now because they got a score sheet in hand and there's hands waving.
Yeah, exactly
they might be
right.
And I know, and it's come up in the chat a few times, and I figured it's worth addressing here since we're seeing it play out live. I'm not against talking it out if it's a foregone conclusion like this. I don't think it's worth it for players to force themselves to go through the another half an hour of playing a game that no one's going to enjoy. Like, I don't have a problem with it. What do you think on that, Adam?
So what was that, sorry? I was just reading some of the stuff in chat and missed you.
Yeah. So the question was, it looks like they're talking out the game right now. And what's your opinion on talking out a game like this, where it is pretty much a foregone conclusion? I don't know what turn they're in, probably 35 primary. So they're probably in turn 3.
Yeah. It's a hard one for me, man, because I'm a victim. I've done this before. Hey, look, dude. And sometimes it's me thinking I'm being humbly arrogant and suggesting to my opponent, I'd rather not put you through another 45 minutes of just picking up models. If you'd like, here are the points that you are probably going to get, and here are the ones I don't think you're going to get. Please tell me if you think you're definitely going to get them. And then afterwards, I usually regret doing it because I feel like, and sorry, I haven't done this recently. This was the stuff most I did in 8th edition. And that's becoming more and more of an issue, more and more of a talking point. Please throw up in chat what your opinion is. Neil Kerr, no need to interject. I know what you think. But I do think we have to stop doing it. I think for the integrity of the game, and the fact that some people refuse to do this because they hold themselves to a certain standard or believe they're holding themselves to one, for the integrity of the game, for the game to grow and progress as a serious competitive thing, we have to play games out, unfortunately. I think that's a maturity thing that we as a community need to accept. What are your thoughts, mate?
I mean, I definitely understand that. I think right now we're trying as a community to make a solution that probably should be solved by the TOs. I think if the TOs said, "Hey, you have to play 4 rounds, and if at the end of the 4th round you and your opponent both agree, you can call a judge over to talk out the 5th round." We need, like, without having any set system in place, it's just going to have scenarios where someone talks out after 2, someone talks out after 4. Those are not the same thing in my mind. If you're tabled, or nearly tabled, you got 1 character left at 4. Like, let's just chat for a second.
Legitimately, if you're at turn 5, I think there are some cases where it's acceptable when it's just a very linear game. We're just like, okay, well, turn 5, I'm going to go here, get those points. You're going to go there, get those points. And he's like, yeah, it's exactly what's going to happen. Done. Cool. No need to do that. When you're at turn 3, turn 4, sorry, boys, you didn't play the game. Especially if you clock out. If you clock out, no talking anything out. Too bad, so sad. Play faster.
Yeah, I have no qualms about that. If you run out of time, that's the point you got. So I definitely think, I think we can solve this issue by TOs putting some guidelines in place, and telling players, this is how you can do this and stay in the rules for our event. And that's not a hard thing to do, to say, hey, you got to get through 4 turns. And at 4 turns, if you want to talk it out, you can call a judge. That way you're also calling the judge over to be like, all right. Oh, looks like there was the shake.
There was a shake, man. That's done and dusted. And you're right. That's the point where it's just like, man, I think they were in turn 4 already.
Yeah.
So literally, it was just the turn 5. The White Scar player goes, well, you just, like, the Dark Angels player goes, I'm sitting here. Like, then the guy goes, I'm probably going to let you. And cool, that's it. Yep. There's no that's fine. That's no problems there. If this was turn 4, this was turn 3. not on in my mind, which is going to be interesting when we see what happens with the Naden game, which I believe we're going back to momentarily. What are the final scores there for these two gentlemen, though?
Ooh. 98-57 in the
That
favor of the
is
White Scars.
Oliver, you are a juggernaut. That guy is, and that list is going places. It's really, I think that's one of the best Marine lists I've seen for this meta. Really well positioned.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
phenomenal.
And Oliver got a 98 in the first round, so Oliver's going to be pretty high up there going into round 3. We'll see if he has the Icarus syndrome.
Tamagotchi Express, I think it's better if players can talk it out with the judge. Yeah, cool. Yeah, talking out with the judge, that's fine. Like literally anything a judge is involved with and judge approves of, a judge approves of. It's fine. It's kosher. They are literally the captain of that ship. You know, you don't disagree with them if they what the word is law. Interesting. Edward Horn maybe just joined us. Oliver's list can be summed up pretty succinctly: 3 contempted dreadnoughts with double Volkites, Kasara Khan, and a warlord tech marine that gives rights of war to the and rerolls and repairs to stuff. And then he's got 3 units of Vanguard Veterans, 2 10-mans, 1 5-man, all Lightning Claw and Storm Shield. Then he has 2 Landspeeder Storms to be annoying, and then he has freaking 2 units of Devastators in a Rhino with all multi-melters. Very interesting list. I think we may be seeing it far deeper into this event.
Ooh, Colin McDade's score just came in. He scored himself a 95.
Oof.
Isn't that your call for winning the event?
He is my call for winning the event. He's got a very strong AdMech list. We've seen him perform at the top level with it already, and he's the hometown hero. He is the Texan-born crushing machine, and he's playing the best army in the game. So he's one of my calls to at least minimum get a podium.
Yeah, Colin also travels like a madman. Like I've seen him at events across the country here. He seems to have no limits on where he'll go to get a good game.
He's going pretty hard this year, and he's within striking distance. He's playing the best army in the game right now to a high level. Why wouldn't you go for it if you can? We have to get a full table view of this game. We just want to see a few more of the elements and factors. We've got a unit of Ballistari here pushing up into the middle of the table. Surprised they didn't. I thought they were going to get charged by those Harlequins. Why do you think he didn't?
Yeah, that's kind of hard to say. The Harlequins, I guess, they have obsects they could seal that objective, but I don't think that the AdMech player even had anything on that objective.
He took it anyway, yeah. Well, he's obsec, his opponent isn't. He took that objective already. Yeah. It was already his. So maybe he had more to lose through, exposing himself to an Overwatch or something like that. Mm-hmm. At the bare minimum, I would have declared a charge on the Raiders just to see what he would do.
Yeah, make him spend that CP if he's going to do it.
Yeah, they'll run. I don't think is it still a CP to do it, or they just get to do it on their data sheet now?
I think it's a CP.
Oh, it is a CP, but you get to redirect. Then he could, if he wanted to, after he sees where they go, redirect into them, redirect into the Bellstar, or just sit. Just sit. Say, cool, I made major move, major spend CP, sitting still, doing nothing.
Yeah. I think that would have been a good play. I don't know. Sean probably has his reasons. I'm not sure what they are.
Hyper Bunny 99. If Houston is considered home in Dallas, I don't know. This is an Australian commentating on American geography. Fair enough. I got it wrong. Totally fine.
But what did we get wrong
last time? The Houston is where Mr.
Look, all right, Texas. Texas needs to settle down. It's all I don't know. I've lived in the US my whole life. I don't know where Houston is in relation to Dallas. They can just settle down.
Fantastic.
Your state is giant. We don't know what's next to what, okay?
It's not that big. It's pretty big.
Hyper Bunny, how far away is Birmingham from Montgomery?
I don't know. You're just saying words now. I don't know any of this
I know, but I'm challenging you to know the geography of Alabama.
Can we please get the full table view of the Sean Naden game, please? I'd like to see the other elements in effect. See if those. Really want to see if those Ballistari moved up off the backboard. If Naden has exposed enough elements to warrant them coming up. I'm really interested to see. Looks like we're going to be here for the duration of the remainder of the round, and I'd love to get a little input from our men on the ground about how much time we have left in this round. It looks to me that they've got an hour and 8 minutes on the clocks. But sorry, they did start. Actually, no, they've only got. They got about 50 minutes.
Yeah, they were just over an hour when we left them to go back on the Marine game.
Exactly right. Because I thought we started on the tone of the hour for this round, but we didn't. We started 15 minutes before the hour. So they've got until 7:45 a.m. for me. I don't know what that is over there. Could you bloody anything over there?
That's 4:45 p.m. here.
Apparently they've got 2 hours left, 1.5 hours left. Oh, sorry, that's what they're saying. Is it's the time between the towns,
Yes.
Montgomery and Birmingham.
They answered the question, and then Hyper
Okay.
Bunny.
Cool.
and I got it right. The Texas is Hyper Bunny's home. That's all right, buddy.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? All right.
We are currently looking at the ended White Scars Dark Angels game.
Yep.
Get it together, Richard. What's going on?
I think he's asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. What are the score? Can we please get the entire table view for the Sean Naden game? Thank you so much, my lovely man.
He seems so polite.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Or not.
That's the wrong one. Yep, you had the right one the first time. You're good. Please do not ask any questions about how the sausage is made.
Yep.
Just know that it tastes delicious.
Richard sweats a lot. He's probably down to just his underwear at this point.
We're taking
trying
hours
to stay
off
cool.
his life.
Yeah. All right. These are the updated scores for the Sean Naden game. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brother.
It looks like we're in AdMech top of 2.
Mm-hmm. So his first turn of primary has gone in. Yeah, we're sitting at a 10, 3 unengaged all fronts, and no eradication of flesh because Mr. Sean Naden was able to kill 2 of his planes, which was what we assumed he was doing there. Now it's going to be a bit harder for him to deny it this turn. He has to actually gun down this Ballistari or the Onagers, and both of those are well, there are a lot of wounds to go through on the Ballistari and a bad profile to shoot into for all those strength 6 and no Ren to go into the Onagers. But he's currently sitting at 26 points. What's the breakdown for Mr. Naden?
Looks like right now, obviously he hasn't gotten primary. He got his 3 on priority targets because he existed, and he did manage to get Stranglehold. So maybe that was why he wanted to have those Harlequins there to get that third objective locked down for Stranglehold. I'm still kind of scratching my head about that charge. What do we see there next to those 3 Cerberus Raiders on that top left objective? What is that unit of 5 strung back? Is that the Infiltrators?
Yes, so it will be his unit of Infiltrators. They'll be going in and trying to clear up that unit of 5 Harlequins that are sitting on that upper left-hand corner objective. They'll get in there. They'll clean that up pretty short order. Yep. They're a great profile for getting that job done, which is nice. I'm a huge fan of Infiltrators and Ruststalkers. They're all my favorite models in the range for a long time. I'm really stoked to see that they've got some legitimate playability.
I remember when they first came out, and I just love the name Transonic Arquebus.
Yeah.
Transonic Razor. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want it. It sounds cool.
I want to know which intern got the job of naming the AdMech stuff, because they just had a field day with that crap.
Yeah.
Just like,
so what kind of fire lanes do you think we have here? Yeah. What kind of fire lanes do you think we have here set up for Luis's shooting phase? Because
not a lot. Not a hell of a lot.
Remembering that those woods are obscuring, like I don't like that unit of Iron Striders that's come up in the woods. I don't know what else they can see. I mean, it looks like Sean's picking up those Harlequins now.
Yep, he's got 1 left sitting on the objective, the furthest one away. But look, those 3 Cerberus Raids will charge and kill that model.
Oh, is that the Farseer that's out exposed?
I wouldn't have thought it was his Farseer. I think his Farseer was a Skyrunner from last I thought. But it could have been.
Isn't that a bike?
Farseer, Skyrunner. Yeah, it's a bike. Was that a bike?
I mean, there's a bike on the mid table that they were pointing at and rolling dice for.
Oh, so there you go. Oh, yes, I do see what you're talking. There's a green model just to the right.
Yeah, so
of the forest in the center.
And they put a wound on it. So it's either the remnants of that Shining Spears unit.
So this is the risk for Sean. Sean has very few things that can play the game outside. Once he's bunkered up all his points in the bottom left-hand corner. Someone said that his Night Spinner was dead. It's not. It's right in the bottom left-hand corner. It's the furthest unit away from everything else. If you'll see, it's just got a couple of models sitting on top of it, or maybe it's some representation of psychic powers, whatnot, but it is in the bottom left-hand corner. I've got to assume that the one that's being shot at is either a Shining Spear or it's his Autarch Skyrunner up there giving some buffs and being a nuisance.
Do we know if Sean has any significant units left in reserve?
You want to hope so. He's going to look
because he's looking real thin at this point. Yeah, like it's Sean. Never say never, I guess. But I'm just trying to scratch my head on because he's not going to be able to get much more Stranglehold if he doesn't have a midfield presence.
I really thought Stranglehold was possibly a poor choice into this AdMech army, simply by dint of how many MSU units they have. Sean really wanted to go into big blocks. He really wanted to go into big blocks of Rangers and Vanguard, the Horde stuff, and then, your Vanguard shot into 60 points of Harlequins. Do not care.
And get those big units so he can get that full blast effect, get that silly number of dice that he's chucking around.
But these MSU units that he has, all the MSU units on the AdMech just pick up all the MSU units of Sean, and he can go unit for unit, cost for cost, value for value with him, and
Looks like
beat
they're
him on
checking
those
some line of
terms.
sight here.
Yep. It's looking like he's trying to see if he was going through the forest, because the forest is obscuring, of course, into what looks like it's a unit of 5 guys trailing out from his
but I think
his
instead
bunker.
maybe they've shifted fire over to that Star Weaver mid table. So I think the line, at least from the camera angle, the line was that they couldn't see those 5 man.
Yeah. So from my point of view, Lewis just kills everything that's not in that bunker, ignores the bunker, wins the game, and it's pretty much that simple for him.
Nope. No, I guess he could see him. Yeah, he could see him.
Yeah, I thought he could. I thought that the line was pretty clear. But was their perspective in ours is completely different. But yeah, look, this could be quite bad for Sean. And it would be interesting if it is, because
I mean, Sean dropped the game at ACO, but he still managed to play his way back into the top 8.
Look, if Sean drops this game, legitimately, I still call him for being in the top 8.
And there goes that Star Weaver.
Yeah, look, I'd be really worried if I was in Sean's position. He's got to have a plan for this, though. He has to legitimately have a plan for this.
He knew this situation was coming.
Exactly right. He's not a man who relies on one-trick ponies. His army is a absolute jank toolbox, and he'll have some plans. It's not looking good right now. Right now, everything he has is in like the... So if you take the bottom left-hand quarter of the table and then cut that into thirds, almost 100% of what he has left is in the bottommost third of that. So literally isolated off the table. Look,
but I mean, he's looking at like 5% of the table is where his army is placed.
Yeah, there legitimately might be some characters here, there, and everywhere, though, that we just can't see.
Yep.
That is Sean, though. We've just been told in a year from our table boss, he's very comfortable at the table, not stressed at all. That is Sean, 101. Yeah. Never seen the guy rattled.
Well, chat, do you see a path to victory that we're not seeing?
Issue is, it's very hard to see Harlequin units on these tables. It's very hard to see single model Eldar units on these tables. He could have like a menagerie of like one model units here, there, and we just can't tell. Looks like he does have at least one on that center objective still, one model of something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But look, I'd be charging him. Ballistari, I don't care what you
get in there,
charge you with Ballistari.
Chicken kick him to death. As long as it's not like that blender like Autark or that blender troop master. Like if it's a regular troop, just go in there and chicken kick it.
Exactly right, mate. Exactly right. But if there's anything in reserve for Mr. Naden as well, be very happy if he's still got some Shining Spears or his big unit of Shadow Spectre still in reserve.
He's also got a Swooping Hawks, maybe.
Yep, absolutely. Joel Adkins has asked for a rundown of the AdMech list. I'll give you guys that quite quickly. Starts off with a Lucius Patrol. He starts off that with a Marshal and a Manipulus, a unit of 16 Vanguard, a unit of 15 Vanguard, a unit of 5 Infiltrators, 2 units of 3 Service Raiders, 2 Honor Dooncrawlers, and 2 Archaeothopter Full Save Bombers. Then he has a Mars Patrol as well. He has another Marshal, 2 units of 5 Rangers, unit of 5 Infiltrators, and 2 units of 4 Ballistari, each one comprising 3 Las Cannons, 1 Autocannon, and a 3rd Onager Dooncrawler. Really happy to see the Onagers. Not something I thought I'd say in this book. I thought the Onagers weren't the value. The Ballistari just make them look silly and pathetic, but we're only taking 8 Ballistari. Go for
it. Yeah.
Got some hot takes in there. Sean's gunline does bad things to people. Over time, he's just going to delete things, and the AdMech player isn't positioned well to kill Sean's gun in return due to indirect fire. The difference is there, Luke, is that if the AdMech player kills everything that's going to hold objectives, he's not moving up and scoring points. They can kill whatever they want. The AdMech player is still going to win. Sean is one of the most canny players on the earth, though, so he's going to have a plan.
Yep. I do enjoy that some of the comments are I feel like I've been surprised by Sean. The path to victory is Sean. Just a lot of faith in Sean Naden as a player, and he's got a lot of experience in these types of situations.
And I suppose it's our job here to say that Sean is human, and it's very possible he loses this game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point in talking? We just sit back, we just go silent, listen to silence, and then put in the scores at the end. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there's the path to victory.
That's the path to victory.
Yeah.
So if you guys didn't hear, Seth.
Yeah, the AdMech player is down to 11 minutes on his clock, and Sean is 35 minutes. So the path to victory, my joke earlier about the way to beat AdMech is to let them clock out, might be real.
Yes. So legitimately, most likely is opponent clocks out, and Sean just Voltrons out from the backfield and just plays the primary and wins, and that's it. Yeah, legit.
I forget what secondaries Luis had. I think some of them were killing.
He did have Eradication of Flesh, which involved killing, which he's going to lose out on. I can't remember the others. I think he took Rad as well. We just got it coming up now. Engage,
Eradication,
he can still score Engage and Priority Target. So he can still score 2 of those very well. But he's got a donut on Eradication of Flesh. Wouldn't be surprised if he only gets 3 points for that, only a single turn. Whereas Sean, as soon as he Voltrons out, he's just going to get auto points, like 15 on the Stranglehold, 15 on Priority Targets.
Yep.
And to the last pretty much relies on whether or not the Shadow Spectres are in reserve or not right now.
Well, and I don't... Yeah, I mean, as long as he keeps those Shadow Spectres hidden for a turn, if Luis clocks out, then there's an auto 15 on that too.
Nah, totally fair. What happens when you clock out? We got that asked by Crucible Caster. What you got the hot take, Sean? Seth?
It's all right. I called you Falcon earlier.
I know. I'm bad.
That's fine. No, so when you clock out, you basically can do no more actions except take saves. Your army just sits where it is. So if you do have secondaries or primaries that score based off positioning of your models, you can get those points. But anything beyond taking saves, you can't do. So that's it. So he'll just sit where his models are. And there have been players that have won games because they realized they were going to clock out. They ran onto objectives and just said, all right, fine, I clocked out, but I'm just going to sit here now and just grind away those points.
Exactly right, my man. And the Ackman player's not in a bad position to do it, but he needs to have the foresight to plan for it now. In fact, if I was him, I'd stop shooting most of my guns.
And just start running onto objectives.
Shoot the big stuff, advance everyone else. Best thing he can probably do right now is zone off. You see the 2 sides of Sean's bunker? Mm-hmm. When you clock out, you want to have a line or 2 of dudes on either side of that. Keep him where he is.
You just hem that in.
If you want to win the game, that's a really good call. If he still has, I want to check on his list. Does he have the Solar Flare, whatever the relic is, the Veil of Darkness?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Let's go look. He does have Lucius, so he does have access to it.
But Solar Flare he does. So last turn, that's what you do. You get a unit that's on the back of the board and use it to bubble off Nate and keep him.
It does look like he still has, I think that's a singular block of Skitarii there. Or it could be a bunch of small ones clumped together, but I think that's one of those like 15 mans that he had.
He does.
And we have just learned Sean has plenty of units left in reserve, so there's going to be some points rolling in for him shortly.
I wouldn't put him down.
No,
I wouldn't put him down, man. I
never doubted him. There's no proof.
His opponent, unfortunately, has been making some mistakes on the clock for whatever reason, and I'd let him continue making those mistakes. The more pressure is placed upon him by the clock, and not by Sean. This isn't any clock. Everyone's got their own separate clock. Everyone's got their own time. And if you run out of time, that's your business. That's your responsibility to manage. But it is so. Just like you squabble in a relationship, it's you and your opponent versus the time. It's not you versus the clock and your opponent you versus your opponent versus the clock. You both should be working together to make sure you get the game done in the allotted time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, clocks are, there's sometimes I can understand people are uncomfortable using them, but at the end of the day, what you don't want is to be in this scenario where they're at right now, where they've essentially have 45 minutes left and be in the bottom of 2. And you're the player in Sean's shoes. You haven't used the majority of the time. And then you're stuck in a situation where the best thing that can happen at that point is you clock it and you chop time, and then you're at 20 minutes to play 3 turns, 4 turns even. So just it's not, when I played Horde Orcs a lot, I would tell my opponent, I want to play this game on a clock, so I make sure I don't take your time. And that's just the thing, to be respectful to your opponent.
So Crucible Caster, they do share 1 clock and go back and forth. It is a chess clock. Conventionally, it is set with. Is it 3-hour rounds for this event?
I think it's 2.5, but I got the packet here. Again, I could actually be informed.
So they're either set with 90 minutes or 80 minutes or 75. 70
they are 3-hour rounds, and I believe they added 10 minutes to each round for the terrain component of this game.
So there you go. So yeah, a minimum of 90 minutes on each clock, meaning his opponent has used about 79 minutes of that in 2 turns. That is pretty, that's something to look at in your game. And what I like about chess clocks is it makes you aware of your responsibility and aware of the things. I used to get into games. And I've played slowly at times. I do not call myself a slow player, but there have been times where there've been crux moments, and I've willingly been without a clock before chess clocks, and been like, I'm going to need a couple of minutes, mate. Please forgive me for this. And as long as you're willing to say that, usually your opponents are fine. When you don't say those things and you just take 10 minutes just flopping around,
Yep.
looking at movements, setting out dice and stuff like that, it can be frustrating. Your opponents can get a perspective in their head. They're trying to seek advantage. So always declare your intent, guys. Even in things like taking some minutes. Best thing I see people do on the clock is slap it onto themselves and just say, hey, mate, feel free to take a seat. I'm going to take 5 minutes from this. I might even walk away from the table, but it's all going to be on me, my responsibility to manage this clock. I love that freedom that the clock brings in that.
Yeah, I think that's a smart play because a lot of times I'll make mistakes when I'm trying to rush through a game and taking that time and not feeling guilty about taking that time to recollect your thoughts. If you have a turn where things turn south and you need to just you feel like you're on tilt and you just want to take a minute and refocus and readjust and come up with a new game plan, having that freedom is a really good call.
Yeah, exactly right.
Looks like Sean's getting down and looking at some lines of sight. He brought some infantry out of that little castle. We saw that.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the Shadow Spectres. He's been holding those in abeyance, waiting for some of those offensive elements to be removed. That was the best thing that could have been bombed as well, as in dropping bombs. That's the only unit that really has over 5 guys. The one bomber almost picks up that unit though. With the bombs and then the 4 Cognis Stubbers, 16 shots, has pretty good odds of picking up 8 wounds of toughness 3 model.
And they're 4 or 3 up saves?
They're 3 up saves with -1 to hit, so they'd be hitting them on 4s, winning on 3s. Fan freaking tastic. People are pointing out just how much AdMech is left on the table. What's actually been removed from the AdMech that you can see, apart from the bombers?
I think the bombers. I think he's lost several. Unless he has bunch of those little 5-mans in reserves, looks like they're out of play.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think there's that much else. Let me pull that list up real quick.
Because the Tempest launchers just hunt those 5-mans down, don't they?
So he's got all 3 Doom Crawlers still. He's got basically both units of Iron Striders are intact. Looks like the Sakarans are intact. Looks like, I would be surprised if he's lost some of the characters. Both the planes are gone. There's 2. I see 1 unit of Cerberus Raiders. Is there a second on there?
No, I don't believe I see a second.
And there's a second unit of Infiltrators. They might very well be in reserve, but there should be a total of 30, 40 Scutari on the table, and there is definitely not 40 Scutari on the table anymore.
Definitely not. So those line of sight shooting guns are taking a toll, at least on his infantry base. That's of course what Sean wants to manage. He wants to get his infantry down to a manageable level so he can play the primary against him with all his MSU pinch hitting units. Because when he does have to go into a density of models like a unit of Lucius, possibly souped up Lucius Vanguard, you put 5, hell, you can even put Shining Spears and a unit of 5 Harlequins in there. They just freaking bounce, man. Those things are so hardy.
Yeah. I mean, this is really kind of showing the concept in play with Sean's list, having that indirect fire and his focus on playing the mission. I was a doubter. You can cast stones at me that I doubted his game plan here, but it looks like he's pretty well positioned to move through this game going forward.
Some people talking in the chat about possibly getting having Sean Naden on from the start, or possibly having John Lennon on. And we want to let you guys see these personalities, these big players. But this is a 9-round event, guys. It would be almost selfish of us, or I don't know. I think we'd be doing as a disservice to the rest of the community to just zone in on 1 or 2 players for all 9 rounds. Literal it's 12, it's 9 hours a day. It's 27 hours of just seeing 1 or 2 dudes. I feel like we can do better. We can showcase more of the community, especially when we're calling multiple tables around, and give more people some limelight. Show some of these incredible armies here, some of these other non-top table games. We don't always need to show the top tables. We want to show the top tables as well as showcase some other superstars out there that might not be in contention or might be battling it out to get to that top spots in the future. So we don't want to just pigeonhole ourselves into only calling just a handful of games and then possibly boring the hell out of you guys.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I enjoy, it's these early rounds, we get a chance to see some players that we probably haven't seen before, but then we also can, hop around from game to game. I mean, we've covered 3 games during this stream. You guys covered 2 games in the last stream. So we can hop around to other games. We can follow other people as they progress through the event. That helps kind of build the story for them, because if you just woke up Sunday and was like, hey, Junior made it in. He was 5-1 and he made it into the final round. That's not nearly as interesting as watching him. If I don't know, but I presume Junior was not doing well based on what I heard. But if Junior drops this round and then manages to make it back, you want to see those games where he pulls it back. You don't want to focus on just one guy. You'll miss those stories.
Yeah. Well, chances are, like, our hands are tied with who we call, like, say, game 5, game 6 tomorrow. We're just going to call it the top tables. And of course, you're only going to have top guys in that final day. So you're only going to get the super high competitive games. So while we've got the chance to show you guys some variety, we do. And that's one of the gifts we're able to bring. Hopefully you guys can appreciate that. Call out to our table boss. I want to get a quick rundown of what Sean actually did have in reserve going to this round. If we are able to get that update, that'd be fan-freaking-tastic.
Plus, we got to see a stompa for like 5 minutes. You will never see that on a table again in this edition, I bet.
A moment in time was captured on this stream for all you orc lovers at home.
Yeah,
the day the stomper came, and it just obliterated that one round.
Yeah,
ferocious.
I'm hoping he keeps doing well. Then we can get him back on stream later.
Yeah. Oh man. Like I said before, how amazing would it be if that guy makes a top 8? What's his name? Sorry, Ben Jurek.
Ben Jurek. Yeah.
Cool.
Right now
cool,
he's sitting in 6th. He's got 190 battle points.
Not bad, man.
That's not bad at all. Yeah, so I mean, he's going to start getting into some stiff competition, though. He's John Lennon's up there in points. We got Colin McDade. We saw Oliver Smith earlier. Oliver Smith actually is leading the pack right now with 196.
He should be. That guy's a savage.
Yeah.
We're able to get next time Richard is available, we're able to get the full table view again, please. I'd like to see if there's any small little units here, there, and everywhere for Sean we can pick out. Looks like some shooting's been done onto this unit of Cerberus Raiders. Looks like they've been invested upon by some shooting. Same with that unit of Infiltrators. Once again, Sean is still zeroing
down to
in
1 and 1.
Yeah, he's still zeroing in, trying to gun down these small units, and he has the perfect profiles for hunting these 2-wound, not great armor save units. You think about, the 4-up save on an Infiltrator. 4-up, 5-up invuln, 2 wounds, toughness 3. Nightspin is just like rubbing his hands together, like, that profile's good for me. That's amazing.
Yeah, and he's being smart and targeting those things that could be quick moving to try to get on, several objectives before Luis clocks out. So he's really trying to reduce that mobility and reduce that ability to kind of block him off from the table.
Yeah, legitimately. This is the thing though. If Sean got too cocky and started vulturing out too early, he still just gets tabled. Like if this list of right now, what Lewis has got will kill everything it can see. It did last turn. It killed everything you could see.
It did,
and it probably would have killed more if it could have.
I think we just lost Adam.
Hello.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, that AdMech list that he's got will kill everything it can see. Every single turn, everything it can see will die. So there's this real resource management that comes into playing into these kinds of lists. You have to really pace yourself in what you expose and what you're willing to lose every turn. Otherwise, you just bleed out and you get tabled, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the shtick that Eldar's had for editions now is being that fragile glass cannon army that has to know when to push out and when to trade and when to hide.
Yeah, exactly right. And there've also been the tale of shenanigans, absolute shenanigans upon shenanigans upon shenanigans. Yeah. And it's interesting that I feel like they've lost a lot of that. Or is it just they still got those, but they're so well known, like things like Fire and Fade, people, it just doesn't shock you anymore when they pull out some janking, like, whatever. Yeah,
I think there is certainly a level of kind of now that we know what the army does, you're less surprised by it. When the codex drops, there's always, hey, did you know? Oh no, I didn't know about that. But after 4-6 months, we all see the combos. People have really kind of had a chance to get games in against it and know what is going to happen to them.
Yeah, spot on. Are we able to get that wider shot, please, in the production booth? We get the wider shot of the table so we can see the entire story, the vista. Yeah. Playing out. Someone pointed out in chat, man, the arms reaching for the dice almost seem to come from the player camp, tripping me out like, damn, these guys have some long arms. Jane Cobb, you're a funny guy.
We planned that just for you, Jane.
just for you.
We really, I know Richard worked really hard on this setup over the last few days to make sure everything lined up just perfectly, so those angles really just mess with your head.
I hope Jane Cobb owns a big red truck. I feel like he should have a big red ute and just be like, "Hey, I'm Jane Cobb," and just drives around town in it. I don't know why. Could be a fairy tale in there somewhere.
We're gonna write our own fairy tale. That's not a great idea.
That's like, what are you talking about? It's literally, we play fantasy fairy tale crap.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that's literally what we're doing here.
Crucible Caster says pro Warhammer players all have 4+ arms, 4 feet plus arms. I think what pro 40k players should have is caddies. I think we should have 40k caddies.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. Looks like we are into Lewis's turn. He's come around. You just know it's such a power move when you come around to your opponent's side of the table.
Yeah, you're like, I'm coming over
out of the way. Stuff to sort out.
And that is the nice thing at this venue setup is you can easily walk to the other side of the table as compared to like LVO where they had just giant rows where it was like, I need to come over here to the side of the table. Put the clock on me. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Exactly right. Looks like they were measuring to see if the unit of Ballistari could move up and tap that ruin. I believe they've realized that he can. So he's going to walk up, tap that ruin. He's going to shoot through to the contents of that. I'm interested to see. It really looks like he lost a lot of his board presence that turn. Those raiders are down. The infiltrators are down. I want to get the wider shot to see if he's lost any more of the Skitarii. There was some small squads in the bottom right hand of screen. We really need to get that wider shot, guys.
Yeah, Richard, if you can get us that wider shot, we would really, really love you more than we already do, which I don't know is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to be real nice and see if that works.
Jane Cobb just said Dangly Boys. Is he one of the Dangly Boys?
I don't think so.
The
Dangly Boys really don't exist anymore, unfortunately, Jane.
In our hearts.
Yep.
In our minds. I used to listen to them. They were a fun time. Blood_pod. Are the lists hosted anywhere? They are all hosted on BCP, my man. If anybody is willing, please chuck a link up to our good lad in the chat so Blood_pod can get on the same page and look for themselves. But to quickly encapsulate, I'll run down these list archetypes. Actually, I'll just run them down real quick. You know how quick I can task. Let's see how fast I can go. We have a spearhead attachment for Mr. Sean Naden. It is expert crafters, masterful shots in the HQ. He has an Autarch Skyrunner with a laser lance, fast Skyrunner with guide, doom, shuriken, pistol, shining spear. Elites, 2 units of shadow specters, an 8-man and 5-man fast attack. We have a unit of 4 shining spears with expert hunter and a star lance on the Exarch. 5 swooping hawks, action monkeys. Expertise is what they are. 3 units of dark reapers. Each one is a 3-man, so 3 times 3 long range fire as the Exarch power and a Tempest launcher on the Exarch as well. That's the beautiful 2d6 strength 4 -2 damage, no line of sight shooting gun. Fantastic in the current meta. Then he has a Night Spinner, a unit of 3 Shadow Weaver platforms, another patrol attachment. This one of Harlequins. This one is Soaring Spite, Serpent's Blood, Enigmas of the Black Rider for an extra relic here. He has a Troop Master, Choreographer of War, Darkness's Bite, Fusion Pistol, Harlequin's Blade, Soaring Spite, Sky Strider, Stratagem, Pivotal Roll, Twilight Fang is the Warlord. 2 units of Troop, each one having 5 Fusion Pistols apiece. He actually has a 6-man there, which I missed before. He's a unit of 5-man, all with Harlequin's Embrace, a single Caresser. You're 6-man, all with Fusion Pistols. 3 Embraces, 3 Caresses there. He has Death Jester, Humbling Cruelty, Domino Shroud, and for dedicated transports, 2 Star Weaves to tote around his Fusion Pistol babes.
I think we're getting close to the clock out point. Sean just moved the clock closer to Luis so that he doesn't have to run back and forth because Luis is rolling on that end of the table. But it looks like they're starting to get really close with that time.
There can't be much more. He would have started this. He would have rolled a bunch of saves. Maybe that cost him a minute or 2 there.
Yeah.
And then in going into his movement phase, looks like he's had a short movement phase. He knows he's under the clock. He's making the right choices.
Yeah, he's just trying to get up there and get on those objectives.
See what he's
doing.
Does
not look like he popped the solar flare though.
No, he doesn't look like he's done that. Maybe he thinks he'll get one more turn. And yeah, that unit of Skitarii in the top right-hand corner has lost quite a few models, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe that was several 5-mans clumped up and maybe Sean early on targeted the larger units to get the most out of his blast effect.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's where you want to go with those Tempest launches. The -2 on them and the ignores cover is cherry freaking ripe to go into those. If you'll see the way he's deployed now, it looks like he's got a bit of foresight in his movements now, a bit of urgency about it. He's got this nice concave wall, essentially zoning off 3 objectives and his deployment zone as well, which Sean really wants to get into for Stranglehold.
I don't know if he had the movement for it or not, but I really would have liked to see that top unit of Iron Striders kind of swing over and tag that 4th objective.
There's really no reason not to, is there?
Yeah, I just don't know if he had the movement for it because I think right where those back 2 are is where the front one was, and they're taking that -2, so maybe he just didn't have the movement to get over there and really maintain coherency or something like that.
Hey, Seth, should I do the other list too?
Sure. Let's buckle up, everyone. Do it.
All right, here we go. We have a patrol detachment of course, Adeptus Mechanicus. This is Lucius. He's paid 2 stratagems for Archaeotech Specialist and for the Mechanicum Locum. He has Skitarii Marshal, 45 points of absolute freaking win there. In addition, he has a Manipulus. This guy has the Solar Flare, and he's going to be picking up, dropping down, doing what he likes. Then he has a unit of 16 Skitarii Vanguard, a unit of 15 Skitarii Vanguard, an Elite unit of 5 Infiltrators. These guys have Power Swords and Stub Carbines, which make me believe they are just there to do actions, as I much prefer the Flechette Blasters and the Taser Goes to order to go get work done. In fast stack, tunes to 3 Cerberus Raiders to just jump around, be annoying, be a nuisance. They are fan-freaking-tastic. In heavy support, 2 Onega Dooncrawlers, both broad spectrum data tethers, and twin Onega heavy fossil blasters, strength 6 minus.
I think he broke the internet.
It's not too bad for the cost either. In fly, he has 2 bombers, 2 Archeotop full of saves with command uplinks in addition. Then another patrol, this one of Mars. It has another Skitarii Marshal, 2 more units of 5-man rangers to round out the troops. And in Elites, he has another unit of 5 infiltrators. These ones have the Flesh Blasters and Taser Goes, making me believe they are there to dump a couple of mortal wounds in addition to do their actual monkey business. 2 units of 4 Iron Stride Ballistari, 3 Cognus Las Cannons, and an Order Cannon in each 4-man squad, rounding it out with the third instead of the neutron, instead of the what is it called? Eradication beam.
Yep.
What is it?
Yep.
Fossil blaster.
Phosphorus. I mean, you could have been right. It's AdMech. No one really knows what their guns' names are.
Johnny just said, "Lol, what?" Correct. If anybody followed that, well done.
Yep.
I will not put you guys through that again. I was just for the lols.
Well, it looks like we're kind of into Sean's turn now. I'm not seeing a lot of action on Luis's side of the table.
Yeah, look, we've gone to the event cam,
which
is currently being fooled about with.
Yeah,
this is a pretty hectic haul, isn't it, dude?
Yeah, it's a big space, and there lots of room to spread out. I know Kicker was really excited when he got into that space. He was complaining it was too cold. We figured that once you put 200 plus sweaty gamers in there, it would warm up real quick. It looks like it's a tile, and I kind of wonder if maybe that's a little hard on the feet. The last event they had was uncarpeted, so that was nice. But all right, looks like we've got the game back up on the screen here.
We do. We can see the transition, like the other screen they're playing with.
Yeah.
It's just going all over the place.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not really sure what's happening here.
I've got no idea. It's making me dizzy.
Someone's rocking a sweet Hawaiian shirt.
That's fantastic. What a champion. Why can't we have him on stream?
Find out who that is.
Yeah.
Table boss.
Who is that man? High five him immediately.
Yeah, we should require all players to wear Hawaiian shirts while on stream.
I think Lewis's turn is done. I
think he just ran up, fired a few pot shots, and then just like you said, just moved and stopped and hope that maybe he's got a minute or 2 left and maybe do some counter fire next turn.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's the right call. Last thing he wants to do is not get to turn 4, turn 5. If he does, there's not much coming back from that on the scoreboard, which I would love to have a look at right now going in, because right now Naden's getting ruined on the primary.
Yeah, but
he's giving up 15s and he's taken 5s. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to have a plan to try to come back from that. We're in what, 2 now? We're in 3.
This will be 3, yeah.
I mean, he's now capped himself at a 40, but it looks like he's sending one of those Skyweaver or Skyrunner characters over. Can't tell if that's the Autarch or the Farseer, but he's going to attack 1 there, so that's going to give him 5 more.
Well, Lewis has done exactly the right things he needed to do. What's the hold more? What's it called?
Stranglehold.
Yeah, Stranglehold for Naden right now is a big old donut. He hasn't got any points on it. Maybe he's got 3 if I'm incorrect. But he's capped now. If he's got none, he's capped at getting a 9, and he needs to get some points this turn. He is going for it, as you can see. He's chucked a character up into the top right-hand corner.
He's chucked a character onto that center objective as well.
That looks like a Starweaver. Looks like a Sky.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it looks like a Starweaver. So that's probably toting around either 5 or 6 flame fusions, which you'll try and pop down that Onega with. So what he wants to do there is he just wants to deny eradication of flesh.
Yeah, he looks like there are some Skitarii on there, so he's going to have to try to get some OBSEC if he wants to try to wrangle that away from him.
Yeah, exactly right. Do you want to have a quick look at the rankings, see if anything's any other games have come down?
Sure, I can have a look. Let's see. Refresh.
Yeah, I'm having a gaze now as well. If you want to look at the so we have John Noel, I'm just going to go run down from the pairings as they are. Table 1, John Newell got a 97 versus Richardson Harris. Frankie G and Puppy Pup, of course, got his 94 versus Nicholas Ziong. Tyler Johnson getting a 91 versus Johnny Velasquez. That was the other game we wanted to put that game on for you guys, but there was some consternation, and so we just dodged that rather than put the pressure on the players. But Johnny is a bit of another Texas heartthrob. He's quite a well-renowned, quite prolific Death Guard player, I think.
Yeah. Interesting looking at the overall points. You were talking about how Frankie was kind of skirting on that low level points wins. Right now, there's 29 players that are undefeated with scores in. There's going to be more obviously coming in. Frankie's sitting at 23, so he's definitely sitting kind of in the bottom third of those.
Yeah.
And just kind of skirting his way through. So seems like that might be a good path to move forward with.
Don Houston is sitting in 21st right now. His second win coming in as an 87. Pretty hardy. He's doing well as well.
Yep.
I
really want to curse right now on stream.
Tell people what happens.
I'm upset. We earlier
well.
when you guys asked if we could go to the Junior Flgn game, the word we got back was that that game was not looking good for Junior. He was getting slaughtered. Well, now apparently with 2 models left, Junior's on the verge of pulling it out.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Junior is up 45-37 against Matt. They can't be in that many turns into the game, but good night.
Well, freaking done. We know the caliber of Junior. He's I think he's placed 15th or something, or maybe he's 18th or something. He's in the top 20 of the ITC right now, and for good damn reason. He is playing out of his skin by the sounds of it. And my heartfelt apologies on behalf of the entire production crew that we did not go to that game. We can blame Val.
Direct all complaints about the lack of Junior Flgn to our supreme leader El Jefe. He loves you when you call him that, folks.
Yeah, he does. He absolutely adores it. It's his favorite thing.
Yes.
But man, if Junior pulls that out, what a champion. And yeah, looking at AdMech players, if Sean beats this AdMech player, if Junior beats AdMech player, that's 2 of our top players both running the absolute gauntlet and succeeding in the current chosen builds that they had to go into this meta. AdMech is the guy that everyone needs to tool to beat. And if you can't tool to beat them, you tool to not get pantsed, you tool to get a decent score out of it. So you tool to take things like While We Stand and just sit back and get a 15. This is why I think Dark Angels, the Terminator build, isn't as horrible as people think. Because if you're not going to win taking Dark Angels anyway, you might as well take the one that gets you the biggest score out of it.
So I just noticed something that I think is worth mentioning in our kind of top player list. Look who's in number 4 right now, Diego Esperanza,
yeah.
Running High Fleet Kraken, and he's racked up a 97 and a 96.
If he's in agreement, we get that man on stream, whatever his game is next time.
So he's running. It looks like he's got a Kraken detachment with a Hive Tyrant, Adrenal Glands, Monstrous Scything Talons, Resonance Barb, Wings, a second one with Monstering Scything Talons. Adaptive Physiology, Murderous Size. No idea what that means, but it sounds scary. Swarm Lord, 20 Gene Stealers, 10 Termagants, 10 Termagants, 10 Termagants, all with Flesh Borers, 26 Termagants with Devourers. I know what those do. That's like a bunch of Strength 4 shooting. 10 more Termagants, a Lictor, and then a Chronos Patrol. And I think we all kind of know what this is going to be. It's got the Neuranthrope with Symbiote Storm, 3 Rippers, another unit of 10 Termagants, 2 of which have Devourers, probably a points choice there, a unit of 6 Hive Guard, and an Exocrine.
There you go. I actually don't mind that. It's actually a lot of board presence, a damn good array of different offensive profiles. And
a lot of bodies.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad pick for playing an event where you get some say in the terrain.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely make sure that you're going to have that nice castle for those Hive Guard to shoot out of.
Yep.
Try to control your fire lanes for that Exocrine, and then see if you can. I don't know. Hive Tyrants with wings are pretty big, so I don't know how well you can hide them, but you can certainly try to get some positions where you might be able to leapfrog them up the board.
Yeah, true. Absolutely right.
All right, we're getting an update on the Naden score now.
They've got T minus 13 minutes on this game and counting. This is going to come down to it. Sean needs to make the right choices in the last turn. Lewis is making the perfect choices, really, for what he needs to do with what he has left on the clock. It'd be great to know how many minutes he's got left. That's a possibility.
I do like. I think Sean's using the Drukhari dice. Those show up very nicely on camera, so I do appreciate that. Because I'm like, oh, you can see exactly what's being rolled. Looks like we just lost one of the Ballistari.
Yep. So that's probably coming in from the melter shots inside that Starweaver. Looks like it's made a charge in there as well. Interesting. He's not holding that objective over the Ballistari. He's got what? A Ballistari and an Onaga doing
all the Rangers are gone. He probably uses indirect to pick all that up, so there went all of that obsec. There goes the Onager.
Onaga. So yeah, he's calling tie. He's tied on that objective, so he's holding 2.5.
Now, I think I see a second model right underneath that dial.
If there was going to be a model in any frustratingly annoying place, there's going to be one freaking model underneath that dial, and it's just going to be really annoying. Because I can't see Sean putting all this work into clearing this objective and not having a reason to hold it or a way to hold it.
Yeah, because then that's going to give him a stranglehold points right there.
Exactly right. It's going to give him a stranglehold. It's going to push his opponents back on the primary. Right now, his opponent has 30 on primary. He got a 15 turn 2, 15 turn 3. It's going to give him a 10, cash him out as a 40. Because we know Sean is capped out at a 40 now as well, seeing as he's gotten 2 5s. So he needs to get 15s on the back end in order to equalize.
Yeah, and I think he's got a good game plan now to get to that. He still has those units in reserve. His opponent's really not going to be able to blow him off many objectives, so he can just keep kind of bouncing back onto him and hopefully keep up with that score.
Yeah, so what we've seen there, we've seen an Onaga go down. We have seen a Ballistari go down. We're seeing a good turn by Sean. These units are all going to die. They're all going to die. It's it remains to be seen whether or not the Harlequins will die that get out of the Skyweaver, Starweaver. I hate that. It remains to be seen whether they'll die. If that Starweaver, can make it through one round of Ballistari, chances are it makes it through the next one. And
so Luis is into his turn. He's doing some movement. So he's got to have some clock left if he's doing some movement.
Yep. And look, the only thing he's got to fire is his quality shooting, which doesn't take all that much time. So, what I'd be doing, don't try and kill the Harlequins that get out. Charge them. Charge them. If you can, I would have. So, I don't think he moved up those Ballistari as much as he should have. He should have moved them up all the way and get within just outside of an inch of that Starweaver. So, when the Harlequins get out, they can't come within an inch. They have to get out off the objective, deny Sean the primary points.
Yep. Yeah, and we don't know how much CP either player has left, so potentially Sean could emergency disembark and try to hop on the other side of them. But those Ballistari have really big bases, so I think he definitely could have screened that objective out.
Yeah, exactly right. I think, and that would have been a really, really big play if you saw it coming. Looks like we're into the shooting phase. Rolling straight.
I think we're going into that lone character up on that single objective, staring at 3 Ballistari.
Looks like Sean's made at least one save, possibly 2, depending on if that guy's going to fall past invuln. If it's any character, he's got all the Shining Spear.
It looks like. Oh, he's not dead.
He ain't dead. Like I said, Sean just rolls good.
Yep. All right. Admech player has 2 minutes left, folks. Sean is down to 11. I think Sean can definitely operate with the 11. It's really tight at 2 minutes.
Absolutely.
What actions you perform, not actual game actions, but actual what shooting do you choose to do?
Oh. So everyone at home, the current score seeing right now is 32 for Sean to 46 for Lewis. There should be another 3 points allocated. We're just being told to Lewis, so he's currently sitting on 49. So please take into account when you see the screen.
And that 3 points is from eradication of flesh. Apparently, the app does not like flesh being eradicated.
Yeah. So that is the Starweaver just got picked up. That unit on the objective just got picked up.
Yep. Those characters are gone.
Yep, keen to see if there's anything inside it. I assumed it was going to be full of, 5 or 6 Harlequin units. And so now I'm actually thinking Sean doesn't have enough units to take this back now.
Yeah, well, he's not going to get that primary point this turn.
He's getting another 5.
He's getting another 5, so he's really going to be behind on that front.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I mean, I don't know how much firepower Sean has that's going to be able to really pick up those Iron Striders and push back and really stop Luis from grinding away on primary.
Exactly right. Can we please get the full screen, full table view, please? We'll get I want to see the whole table from this point onwards, if that's okay. Interested to see if he does have a unit underneath that overhang, underneath that dial. He does still hold that middle objective, which would have given him a 10, which does make a big difference to the total.
Yeah, it does.
So shrink that
And
bad
then
boy down. Let's see.
And
the
that
whole
would be
table.
another resource he wouldn't have to commit to try to get Strangled if he already had a unit up there.
Yeah, exactly right. He's gonna have to make a charge now. These Shadow Spectres actually have to charge onto the objective.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
They have to. Don't have a choice. And Sean is in actually a really tough spot. He does have the ability. He does have the units in order that can enable him to do this. I just want to know if he had that. If he's got that 10 on primary. If he only got a 5, I think he's screwed.
I think because right now points wise, let's see, where are we at? I still don't see why Luis wouldn't max priority targets. Engage on all fronts. If Sean can remove that upper left unit of Iron Striders, I don't see Luis getting any more points on that. And maybe that's Sean's priority this turn, stopping him there. And then they changed out a ratification of flesh to grind it down to make the app happy. But I don't. I think we're not going to see any more points on that either, because basically all that's left is vehicles.
So I'm hoping. Yeah. So the Shadow Spectres have decided they're not going to go for the fire and fade through the forest, which I thought he was going to do, either fire and fade or charge, depending on if he thought he'd get a model down, or depending on what he wanted to do with his shooting. Because the issue is, like, you can't if you shoot and kill one of the Ballistari, the charger becomes wrecked. But he's just decided to go sit on the central objective. That's fine. That's probably the safer choice. Shoot into the Ballistari, try and pick up some points.
Like we're making an advanced move for the Night Spinner.
Yeah, he needs to get on his bike, man. Please keep in mind as well, Sean has to the last, and as he sits right now, he's going to get 15 points at the end of the game for that secondary.
But one of those models is that Night Spinner. So if he's throwing that Night Spinner out and he doesn't manage to pick up all those Iron Striders, or at least stop them from shooting next turn by tying them up, he might be sacrificing points, as well as that large unit of Shadow Spectres was his other unit for to the last. So this is an all-in moment for Sean, I think.
He doesn't have a choice. He's got to go for it, I think. This turn, if he does it though, I think he's got it. Yeah. If he can kick off these Ballistari down to just 1 or 2 left, it's in the bag, I think. But if he doesn't, he could have a whiffer. These profiles he's shooting are not that reliable into this many wounds. So yeah, interested to see, man. This is actually really tight. Happy we got to call a tight one. The last couple have been kind of blowouts. So yeah, good to see, man. Lewis, well done.
Good to see one that makes it down to the wire. Good play on Lewis, because we were, or at least I was thinking it wasn't looking very good for him, 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, and he realized the situation and he made the correct plays to keep himself in the game. So that's a great play on his part.
So one of the Ballistari at the top unit has been pulled down. That's a unit, just 2 sitting pretty there right now. I'm interested to know if he's shooting the concentrated bursts from the... does he want to just double and triple down on that unit and shoot the concentrated bursts from the Shadow Spectres into them, the 3 damage ones? I think he does. Kill that top unit in its entirety. You can fire and fade a vehicle, yeah? He can fire and fade the Night Spinner onto that objective.
Yeah, and it advanced, so it just needs some sort of assault weapon to fire.
Yeah, and so he would get his stranglehold. Should he kill that unit and fire and fade onto it? I think that's the play. I think that's what he's going for.
Yeah, because I'm assuming there's some like shuriken catapults or something on that they can fire as an assault weapon.
Yeah, spot on. So he's relying on a lot of things going his way, though. We'll see what happens. Looks like he didn't do any wounds. It looks like he only did like 1 wound there on the guys then. Or actually, I don't think he did any, to be honest, because I saw a bunch of 3s. So there is 3 hits with 1 reroll. Looks like he's got 2 wounds there, both the 6s. So it's going to be 6 up invulns. Fails both 4 wounds there taken on a Ballistari. I don't know where that may be. It's probably on the top.
I think it's on 5 and it's going down to 1. I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was as well.
Another volley. Reroll. Oh man, look at them 6s. Only 1 this time.
Mm-hmm. That's all he needs. Come on, he can do this. He just needs a little bit of luck to go his way. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Like most of it.
I wonder what he was shooting at there that he wounded on 2s. Yep, there goes that one and that one. Yep, he's cleared it off.
He's got them both. I think that's the game. I think that'll settle it for Sean with the 15.
Yep, and there he goes firing the catapults.
Yeah, he'll fire and fade onto that. He'll charge the Shadow Spectres in to deny the Ballistari from shooting and clearing off objectives. He'll try and get a minimum of 15.
And there comes the fire and fade.
There's the fire and fade.
On the objective. There we go.
He's got it. I think he's got it locked up from this point. Man, tight game, Lewis.
Yep. Down to the last moves.
Yeah, maybe put himself under some undue pressure unnecessarily. But man, he played well when it down to the wire. He made sure it went to the right amount of turns. These Shadow Spectres are going to run into these Ballistari, going to tap them, and the only things that'll be able to get them from reprisal will be 2 Honor Gadoon Crawlers, which are going to be hitting on 4s, and so it's unlikely they all die. Especially if those Ballistari are touching the wall. If they're touching the wall, the Shadow Spectres
Sean's scoring up. I don't know that he actually made that charge or not. He may have had to advance those Shadow Spectres.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was about to say, if he didn't, it's because he had to advance.
Yep. But it looks like they're just talking now, trying to get the last points done for.
He's going to squeak through by to the last.
Yep.
Is what's going to put him over the line. Because so he's right now sitting on 32, plus 15 for the last. It is on 47. He's going to get a. It's improbable he gets less than a 10 on his last turn. That puts him up to 57. Is it already accounted for paint? So 67. And then another. So 57, it has accounted for paint.
There's the
another
shake.
Unit of Stranglehold. Yeah, just had a shake there. They're both under 5 points. Yeah, both under 5 minutes. They won't start another round. We only have 7.
Yeah, if they won't start another round, I think they just score out where they are at.
Yeah, and I think that's going to scrape it for Sean. Really interesting game. I hope Lewis is happy, man. I hope he's happy. He's really happy with his result and the way he played. This game he could have clocked out turn 2, and he put himself under a lot of pressure to make a lot of plays.
He made some smart decisions.
He did.
After that, trying to keep himself in the game, because that definitely could have been a tight one.
He played against the best player in the world right now by the current rankings, if you go off of those, and he pushed him to the absolute limit. He won it by the skin of his teeth in the last turn of the game.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Score in yet? Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. We'll go back to our rankings to see if any other scores have come through. See if any shake-ups for our ladder.
I think we've got the vast majority of them at this point. We've got
Colin McDade currently in second place. Brad Townsend going into third with Cult Mechanicus. Diego Esparza sitting in fourth now. Still in fourth with his Tyranids. We're going to have Diego on if he's willing to come on for the next round. John Lennon in fifth. John Cuifo with Deathwatch.
I'm just having fun listening to you pronounce these names. I usually have to be the one stumbling over them.
Yeah, CIUFO. How would you pronounce that? Anyway, whatever. Ben Jurek in seventh with his wonderful stomper. Scott Thompson with Admech. Jake Jacobson with Death Guard. His parents have some explaining to do. Jake Jacobson. Why do that to his son?
Why?
Marshall Peterson with Necrons is rounding out our top 10. And Sean Naden will not be joining that top 10. I do not think his score was high enough to get up there.
I don't think it will be either.
We have to get a final score from the table, and we'll
82-85 Naden. So
wow, they were not updating a bunch of those scores. Or yeah. There you go. Is what it is. 32. Yeah. So what was it?
85-82. So Naden wins by 3 points.
Sorry, Naden might be in the top 10 with that score because he did have a decent. He had 94 in round 1 as well. On that note, we will leave his and leave his Seth. You may or may not be joining us for the next round, will you?
I don't know. We'll find out. It's a surprise. It's either me or Falcon, or who knows? Maybe you can convince El Jefe to do something.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
He's just been sitting around all day anyway.
Yeah, what a slacker. I mean, just be, working their hamsters who make all this go. Thank you so much for being on, my mate. You've been an absolute pleasure. Can we get a sound from some noise from the booth? When should they expect us back? Okay. The booth doesn't know. The booth does not know. Expect us to be back. It's not much of a break. There's no lunch break here. So expect us to be back in 25, half an hour, guys. Hopefully we will start at the same time the round starts, and we'll go through duration. We will definitely have that Tyranid man on if we can get him, convince him. Otherwise, we'll just put some movers and shakers on. We'll have some of the top guys, possibly not the top 10. We'll have some top 20, top 30 guys. Just hopefully some interesting matchups that we think will be intriguing to your eye. If you have any specific requests, please chuck them up in the chat. In the next couple of minutes, we'll take them into account. And Seth, my man, anything you want to mention or anybody want to shout out before we close this off?
Check out, I'm in Signals, thanks to El Jefe. So I help out there, but I help out with other shows. I'm going to be on Grimdark this week, so check us out there. I got a little YouTube channel if you like orc stuff called Seth the Mad Dog, but otherwise, just check out all the great content here on the FLGN, the Ocho, as we like to call it.
Love your work, my brother. See you on the next one, guys. Take care, and we'll see you shortly for round 3.
Okay. You already lost him. He's gone to bed.
Me? Yeah, I think